The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about. Yes,
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon. How you doing? It is Feel Good Friday, April 9th. Shout out CBDMD. There's a lot of things to talk about as the Masters continues and Wrestlemania weekend is upon us. Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Yesterday, the boys got their asses beat by Augusta. Today, it seems like the course is much easier. Maybe made the greens a little bit softer so they weren't just glass. Yesterday's boost that I put out where I thought it was a certainty, a guarantee. I got a lot of tweets from people telling me that I fucked them over or whatever because the boost did not hit. Excuse me. I think we're 3 or 4 out of the last 4 or 5. So please have a little bit of respect. The last time we hit it, we took $5 million from FanDuel total together. Yesterday we lost though. Yesterday that boost lost. Wow. And to be honest, I have sent out some questions to the people at FanDuel about why they bamboozled me, why they hoodwinked me. Why did this originally start out at minus 200 when all these alleged golf people that were in the know, they said, came out and said, knew the course was going to be tough today. We all knew that. Well, then how come the booksmakers didn't know that? Because they had it at minus 200 that DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, or Speed yeah, would shoot under a 68. Only one person shot under a 68 yesterday. And by the way, today they're shooting way over that. So I feel like we were potentially set up there. And I don't know if it was FanDuel didn't know or if all the books didn't know, but there was allegedly people that pulled a Jay Glazer and said, we knew this was going to happen afterwards. I would want to know who those people are because did we get set up for failure? Potentially. I apologize that the Super Boost didn't hit yesterday. Once again, I will go back to the drawing board so that we can take all the FanDuel's money. Yeah. And people act as if just because they're our exclusive betting sports book that we are the same business. Listen, when I lose, these motherfuckers get my money, okay? Now, we only bet with these people. They paid us a lot of money only to bet with FanDuel, and we believe that they're the most convenient. They are the best odds-having sports book. We have actually sent complaints, they fixed them. Like we feel like we feel like we have a great partnership in this whole thing. But let's not act like this is not very much me versus these motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. I would like to take all their money too. So when you're tweeting me saying your boost ruined me too. I want to let you know, me too. Yeah. This did not help me as well. So we will try to take every dollar from them. I promise you that from now until forever. I do not love that the Super Boost didn't hit, but we'll get back in there. I'm pumped that the Masters are continuing. It's always nice just to have it on in the background. Now, granted, the Sunday nap, okay, with Masters, and then WrestleMania's on.
Here we go.
Night 2. Oh, my God. I mean, Sunday, this weekend is setting up to be beautiful. No, because Saturday you get the Masters nap and WrestleMania. Then Sunday you get the Masters nap and WrestleMania. I mean, here we go. We are right around the corner. On deck is a fantastic weekend. So let's enjoy the hell out of this Feel Good Friday here. Shout out CBDMD. Paul Heyman will be joining us. Yes. He is obviously special counsel to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. He has been in the wrestling business for like 40 years at this point. One of the most brilliant minds in the history of sports entertainment will be joining us in about 19 minutes. And when he and I talk, know that the conversation's good. He came and visited us when we were on Radio Row down at WrestleMania, and we were getting a couple people that would come through to talk to us. Paul Heyman sat down. It was supposed to be for like a 10-minute thing. He stayed for 35 minutes or something like that. Would not leave.
Didn't want to leave.
Massive fan, a lot of questions, and when he gets on a microphone, his mouth says incredibly entertaining things. Big shout out to Paul Heyman right here before WrestleMania weekend, taking time out of his day to come chat with us. Cannot wait for that. Jordan Palmer, the founder of the Quarterback Summit, which is a quarterback training thing that goes on in Southern California for quarterbacks going into the draft. And once you get drafted, maybe come back to get better in the offseason. Last year, he was training Joey Burrow, okay, number 1 overall pick. This year, he's training Trevor Lawrence, okay, number 1 overall pick. He played in the NFL. His brother's Carson. He still owes us a Carson Palmer bobblehead night that he promised us last draft spectacular. Feels like he potentially lied to us there, but he doesn't lie to us about the things he sees from quarterbacks, what his vision is. is. I cannot wait to hear his thoughts, not only about Trevor Lawrence, by the way, which seems like it's locked in. He's going to have a great NFL career. Why is that the case? But now let's also talk. I know you're busy with your guys, and I don't know who all he's training this year, but let's talk Zach Wilson. Let's talk Justin Fields. Let's talk Mac Jones. Let's say, why do you think some of these things are coming out now that maybe hadn't come out before? And does he know anything about the Goldman test, which we talked to Dr. Scott Goldman, and what all does that mean? Cannot wait to chat with Jordan Palmer, who's always a wealth of information. And in the third hour, alongside AJ Hawk, the boys, and I, Mark Schlereth will be here. Let's go. There's nothing really to talk about with Stink, to be honest. Like, there's no specific reason why he is coming on the show. He is just coming on because he's a great conversation. We'll fire whatever the fuck at him, and he will have a great answer for it. The guy's obviously Super Bowl champion, legend, TV commentator, soap opera actor. I mean, he's been there, done that with everything. So whatever the show leads to him in the third hour, we'll get his opinions on it and everything like that. Cannot wait for him. A couple of the boys are here. At Boston Connor's here. How you doing, pal?
Fantastic, Pat. How are you doing?
I'm not too shabby. It seems like the Patriots are all the way out on Justin Fields. You've gotten very quiet on that whole aspect, but now people are saying, there's other people saying, no, the Patriots are still going to make a big move. Have to be a bit conflicted, but this is what it's like as an NFL fan going into draft season.
Exactly. I'm 50-50 on it, like you said, but because people are saying, oh, no, the Pats are in it, I just feel like out of Belichick's spite, well, if they're saying that, I'm going to do that out of, respect for myself. I'm not going to do that. But Jordan Palmer can ask about Jarrett Stidham. What Stidham up to these days?
We will not ask about Jarrett Stidham.
Whoa,
that is not something
He's
that'll
hanging
happen.
out with Hunter Henry.
Who gives a fuck?
What if he's slinging balls for the Pats?
Listen, Jarrett, shout out Jarrett Stidham. We had a good week and a half where we talked about Jarrett Stidham because he was potentially going to be the quarterback that had to fill in for Tom Brady after that entire breakup. And you were, Studham.
Who knows?
Studham is his name.
Still could be.
Yeah, by the way, still could be. But we are not going to waste Jordan Palmer's time with Jarrett Stidham. Okay, who is potentially third-string quarterback on the New England Patriots, depending upon what the Patriots do on draft night. We are not going to do that. But as an NFL fan, looking at the NFL draft, you have a chance in that. Bubba Gumpino sitting in here for Ty because Ty had to go do a personal family obligation. Mm-hmm. Very important.
Oh, yeah.
Very important. Very important. Nothing bad, but very good, actually. But very important. Gumpy, Dolphins fan. Last year, going into the draft, there was a sense of excitement, I assume, like, hey, our franchise can change. And that is the beauty of draft season. It's like, hey, our team with one, the pick is in, your entire franchise can change. And that's how a lot of people are feeling right now.
Still there, Pat. We just got to get some weapons. You got to get Tua with some weapons, see how it goes in a full season with him.
Yeah, amen. I mean, Tua's going to have an opportunity to maybe prove himself, or maybe behind the scenes they're like, well, he's good, but he's not great. That's why we're going to sub in a guy who's watching the Masters today, Ryan Fitzmagic. We're going to put his ass in there in fourth quarters whenever things matter. He's now in Washington, who's allegedly in on Trey Lance. Yeah. Washington football team, there's reports coming out from Michael Lombardi, former NFL general manager, also the founder of The Daily Coach, which is a newsletter. He's not joining us right now, so I'm not going to go through all his titles. The motherfucker does everything. He came out and said, and he's awesome, he came out and said the Washington football team is all in on Trey Lance. He said he predicts that there's a chance that they could even make a move to go get Trey Lance in the draft, which would be fascinating because the Washington football team, they bring back Heineken. Okay, after the Heineken, the green bottle, son of a bitch, put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers potentially in a blender in a playoff game last year. And with how that team performed in an NFC East that is kind of, slaw last year, and potentially slaw going forward as well, they bring him in for $8 million. They sign Ryan Fitzmagic for like $10 or $12 million. So now they have two quarterbacks that they're paying a pretty significant amount of money. If they were to make a move up in the draft to go get Trey Lance, which allegedly where they would have to get to is pretty high if they want to get him, how would they balance that? How would they handle that? Who knows? But this is just another piece of the entire puzzle that is being an NFL fan, that the draft is potential opportunity. The draft is hope. The draft is tomorrow is going to be a better day than today was, and yesterday, I got to experience. The draft is everybody thinks they're potentially going to become a team that is going to be worthy of a conversation with one swift pick, one Roger Goodell announcement, one dap up on the screen. And on the flip side, your team could potentially lose the Super Bowl. That's what fans think. We are losing the Super Bowl with the draft pick we just picked. For instance,
go ahead.
Say it.
God damn it! The Packers with the Jordan Love. So I think that is why the draft is so intriguing and awesome for fans. And to be honest, I cannot wait for the draft. It is a couple weeks out now, so there is still some time for the draft to come. But I am very, very pumped about it. And I think the conversations leading up to it are also going to be great. It seems like there's a lot of bullshit. I think we, by the way, have been snooping around trying to snoop out the bullshit there, sniff out the bullshit there. And I think we have done that. That Dr. Scott Goldman test thing is really making its rounds. I wonder if it'll be something that is very much used going forward. Like, but what did the Goldman say? What did the Goldman say? Goldman's never going to tell anybody. But with how important it has become in the judgment of Justin Fields by people that are not in NFL teams, we're talking about media members, social media humans, everything like that. I feel like we're just getting to the beginning of real information coming out, because it seems like we've been swimming in a sea of bullshit. Guy was just chipped in. Pretty impressive stuff there at the Masters. It was Phil Mickelson. That's what Phil Mickelson does. He's had a rough couple weeks golfing, but he had a 10 or something on one hole last week or 2 weeks ago.
Phil.
Yeah. It was a short game too that failed him, which is now he's back.
Locked in.
He went to the lab. He is all the way back. At Viva Lazito, what is today's poll? I cannot wait to chat about this.
What are you most excited to watch? In last place right now, we have Wrestlemania at 10%.
Okay, it's still 10%.
Sunday at the Masters, 12%. And then round one of the NFL draft, 78%.
Okay, so NFL is king.
Yeah. Always will be.
NFL is king. For all the things we just said, that's 7.3 thousand votes, allegedly. We are getting skeptical of the YouTube polls.
So it's funny. I've been refreshing the last, basically as long as it's been out. It's only moved, WrestleMania started at 7%, and then it went to 10%, and it hasn't moved since.
Yeah, well, see, for those that are wondering why we are skeptical of the YouTube polls, it's because for maybe the entire time of us using the YouTube polls, maybe we were just blindly to it, because whenever we had our polls on Twitter, we would get some votes. We get 20,000 votes, 10,000 votes.
It would fluctuate.
15,000 votes. It would move, but it was, we got a lot of votes. You know what I mean? We got 10. We put one on YouTube. Old Louis Tubes cracked the code. And he said, "Hey, the polls on YouTube. YouTube wants these polls to be big, so they're going to put it out everywhere." So the first day we had 350,000 people vote on our poll or something. And we're like, "Well, sorry, Twitter. Okay, we're going to the bigger poll. We get 250,000 people vote on these polls. 300,000 alleged pollsters. The polls are just massive, but." We've gotten past the blinding of the big numbers.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to get a little skeptical of the results, because it seems as if whenever these polls start, they set a percentage for one thing or another, and then we'll check in hours later, maybe hundreds of thousands of alleged votes later, and it's the exact same thing. So maybe they're so dialed in that they're able to pick up the percentage quickly from what people are saying, or maybe, just maybe, it's bullshit.
No, not the people.
Yeah, no, it's not the people that are bullshit. It's not the people that are bullshit.
Numbers.
The algorithm.
We're talking about the potential written results.
Yeah.
The amount of people voting, the number. We're just keeping an eye on it, is all we're saying. We loved what the YouTube poll has brought to us in a community page at youtube.com/the Pat McAfee Show. It seems like, look, 8.9 thousand votes. There was just 1,500 votes right there in the last whatever speech I just went on in 2.5 minutes or whatever. These things go. But the percentages rarely change throughout the entire show. And that's kind of a bit befuddling, unless YouTube's algorithms are so dialed in, they get it right very early.
Well, and this one's not going to change either. I mean, we just talked about how the draft is the greatest thing because the endless possibilities for every team. I wouldn't be surprised if this one's 95% for round one of the draft.
I like the fact that you're rocking the XFL hat, by the way.
Let's go. XFL. We were singing a little Eddie Vedder song.
You were singing.
I was not part of that.
Yeah. What are you talking about? We were all doing it.
That hat sucks the brain out of your skull.
It's awesome. Whatever's left of it. But.
The XFL, by the way, the first time the XFL was introduced, it was not supposed to be a televised thing. It was created as a live event thing. So it would be like a concert, it'd be like a show, it'd be something like that. It was designed basically to do that. Then old buddy, what's his name? Charlie Chapman. What's the guy from NBC? What's the Charlie Ebersol. Ebersol with a B.
Yeah.
Charlie Ebersol. He lost the rights to something. He knew Vince. He approached Vince like a couple weeks allegedly before the XFL started and was like, "Hey, I need something in my prime time." And I think Vince, allegedly, if the 30 for 30 or whatever documentary it was about it, Vince was like, "Well, this is not for TV." And Ebersol was like, "No, I trust you. Like, let's put out something because I don't have anything." And then obviously Vince the first week is, "This is the XFL." And all the people in the crowd there are all probably wrestling fans, Vince McMahon fans, understand it. But at home, primetime television, a lot of people turn it on and we're like, okay, so we're not going to watch. This is not the alternate to the NFL. It had success, but nowhere near the amount of success that everybody potentially projected, but not Vince McMahon. I think Vince McMahon, once it got on TV, never expected it to be some, like glowing TV sensation. So it disappears. I assume Vince McMahon, I've only talked to him twice. Actually good one time.
How you doing, pal?
Yeah. And then another one, a quick handshake or whatever. I assume the fact that people labeled it as a failure sat in his. That was one of those things,
back
right?
of the brain.
Whether he was like, these motherfuckers don't even know that this was supposed to be a live show. It wasn't supposed to be TV. They're judging me off the TV, not the live show. We sold out stadiums. Fucking what are we? So that probably sat in there if I had to guess. I don't know him well enough to make that accurate assumption, but I am assuming that it sat in there. So whenever it was a chance to potentially come back, and Ebersol's kid was potentially going to launch another league, and that thing failed completely. Absolutely failed completely. Didn't pay the players, didn't pay the coaches. The AAFL is what we're talking about. It was I believe that thing was maybe the most Mickey Mouse operation I've ever heard from the people that were in it. Like, players were like, wait till you hear this. I was getting texts from former teammates that were like, wait until you hear the shit that we're going through here. We're practicing in some high school with no field. They're not paying us. I had to pay for my motel that I was staying in.
Shit show.
Like, it was just a complete shit show. I think football-wise, they maybe had it. I don't know. But just the business side of it was bad. So the XFL comes back. Partners with Fox, ESPN, everybody. Huge. We're going to change the way, we're going to do this for TV. We're going to get some legends of the game to come in here. We're going to try to, and that thing was, those games were averaging over 1 million people per game.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and everybody's going to be like, well, the NFL gets 40-some million for a championship. It's like, yeah, I agree. But go look at what all this other shit's getting.
Yeah.
1 million people to watch an XFL. They were going. I saw it firsthand in that first week whenever I got a chance to call it on the field. I was originally pitched when I okayed it that I would be in the booth, but then I was switched to the field like a couple days before, and then kind of like, what's it called whenever they try to make you feel bad?
Guilt trip?
Yeah, I was kind of guilt tripped into well, you did say you would do it. I was like, no, I said I would be because I was told, but I'll do it. But anyways, I was happy I was guilt tripped in it because I got a chance to experience it. The fans were excited. The teams were committed. They felt like everything was getting taken care of. And then, Uncle COVID came through and kind of ruined the whole thing. So I think XFL will always be kind of viewed as a failure, and maybe even some people who are super haters of Vince McMahon or whatever will say a 2-time failure. Yeah. I don't agree with that at all.
No.
I don't agree with that at all. I think the XFL was a success. I think the first time it wasn't meant to be a TV success. It was supposed to be a live performance success. It was at that point. And I didn't know that as it happened, by the way. It wasn't until that documentary I watched where I was like, oh, this makes so much sense on how it all worked out. But the second time, getting a chance to experience it and watch it and everything, I think it was a success until Uncle COVID came through. But people always say, it failed.
Well, and the stuff they tried, right? Like, if the replay was awesome, like if that gets carried over to the NFL, you got to think, like, look what they did. Also, the interviews on the sideline, players coming off the field, like, oh, fuck, that was awesome. On a hot mic.
The sky
XFL
camera.
created the sky.
Yeah, the sky cam.
Yeah, that's what I was doing here. That was tough charades, I think.
I thought you were going, like, swimming or something down there.
Well, that's what the sky cam does.
Yeah,
it gets in there. Yeah, but...
I mean, you almost took a hand off that game.
I was getting yelled at the entire time.
15 yards on the field doing
I
a
was getting yelled at.
sideline report.
Because the person who I was directly working with kind of knew that I was bamboozled and also liked me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they liked me or whatever. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not trained for people go to school for a long time to be good sideline reporters because there's certain information there has to be timing. You have to remember these certain things. I'm like, this ain't my fucking thing. Like, I'm supposed to be reacting to stuff. Yeah. They're like, okay, this is what you're going to have to do. You have to ask for permission to speak, so we'll send it to the truck, and the truck will send it there. They'll give you a yes, then you can talk or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. Like, that's just not how it's going to work. They're like, well, that's how this whole thing goes. I'm like, okay. I'm like, where am I supposed to stand? Am I supposed to stand? Like, they're like, oh, you can go wherever you want. I'm like, wherever? They're like, yeah, wherever you want. Just kind of walk around. I'm like, okay, you got it.
Fine.
I fucking was, 5 yards behind the fucking line of scrimmage, and I heard in my ear, get off the field.
You're touching the logo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I allowed to talk, or do I have to ask? Or do I? I'm sorry.
You have to clarify that you have to get off the field? Or?
Who am I?
Hold on.
Okay, yeah, I'll get off the field. Me walking up to the ref. What's going on?
If you would have had a pass down, that would have been.
If there was a fumble right in front of me.
Yeah. Jump on it.
If that gets recovered, I have to do like a full Olay on the middle of the field.
Johnny Manziel.
Or you're running next to him like, how do you feel right now?
Hey, good for you, man.
You think you're going to score?
Hey, look at you. You're scoring a professional football game. Anyways.
You think that kickoff will ever make its way around the other leagues or no?
What was it? I don't remember.
They had them like everybody was already down at the 30, like except for the kicker and the returner. So they boot the ball off.
Oh, so that's a practice drill for kickoffs.
Standing like 10 yards, 5 yards.
Now that I remember it, yeah. Whenever you just move everybody on the field, you save their legs, right? So, hey, we're not going to make you run the entire way. We're just going to set it up. That's like a kickoff drill.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll. I think that seems a bit Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
But other than that, they also moved the ball up 5 yards on the kickoff.
Yep.
Because there was heavy wind, and that was like 2 minutes before the game. I was like, I love that you guys can just
on the fly.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
I really, really like that, but I don't think we're gonna see some of that stuff. The review needs to get in there.
Has to.
What are we even doing? Let's get to a break. Paul Heyman will join us on the other side. I think it's going to be a long one, so we'll hit the break now so we don't get fucked over in the end. This is Pat McAfee Show, Feel Good Friday, April 9th, 2021. Cheers.
Hello and welcome to Office Championship Wrestling live in Indianapolis, Indiana. Tonight we have a straight to hell match in which the devil will battle against our office wrestler, Dylan Boston. You might be wondering how we got here. Let's find out right now.
And now we have to make a deal with the devil.
Yeah, no big deal. Classic trial by combat situation. We got our champion, Dylan Bostic. All he's got to do, win the match, 1, 2, 3, and we're home safe.
The only man that would take the job to protect us from the devil himself, Dylan Boston.
Like you mentioned, Pat, there's probably about 5 or 6 other guys we'd rather have in this position, but we'll take Bostic, I guess.
Not only are all of our souls on the line, the Office Championship Wrestling Championship, presented by Natural Light, is also on the line.
Jesus, the devil's trying to put Bostic straight to hell!
I do not want to go to hell!
No!
Don't do it!
Good God, no! Come on, Bostic, Pat!
Oh, no! Oh, my...
I'll see you in hell, Pat. The goddamn Easter Bunny's out here! What the hell's he doing here?
The Easter Bunny is obviously here to help Dylan Bostic. Wait a minute. No!
No!
The Easter Bunny's been on the devil's side this whole time. Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ!
What the hell's Jesus Christ doing here?
The power of Christ is compelling Dylan Bostic.
Look at this, Pat! Jesus Christ is bringing Bostic back to life! Jesus is going insane! And now Bostic's kicking wholesale ass in the ring!
Jesus Christ has come to help Dylan Bostic defeat the devil and defeat the Easter Bunny. What's gonna happen here?
Good God Almighty, it looks like he's going up in the scissor lift!
Jesus is lifting the scissor lift! Jesus is now telling Bostic to come down.
Don't do it, Bostic! Don't do it! Oh my God!
Oh,
Bostic's dead! He's dead! You can't tell from home, but that scissor lift is about 8 stories up, Pat!
80 feet in the air! Oh wait, he's tuning up the bed! The devil!
Super kick! Into the casket! The devil goes down! The devil goes down!
He shuts the casket!
Straight
back to hell! The devil goes straight back
assist from Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Dylan Bostic saves the PMI office's souls and wins the OCW championship right here on our first OCW Straight to Hell.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. We thank you for taking the time to seek out this small regional show that streams internationally. Here's Pat and the boys.
Welcome back to that show. You know, we're 2.5 minutes late here on this conversation we're supposed to be having with this man. And I want to let you know, I am a person that firmly believes you should never take 2.5 minutes of mic time away from this person.
Oh, yeah.
Every time he gets a mic in his hand, magic happens. He's a maestro on that thing. He's currently serving as special counsel to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who's also champion. They'll be main eventing Sunday night's WrestleMania Night 2, where Roman Reigns battles against Edge and Daniel Bryan. This guy has been a genius in the wrestling business for what seems to be maybe 90 years at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Heyman.
Yeah! Paul!
How are you, pal?
I thank you for that introduction, and I thank you also for being understated in your assessment of my greatness. Because it's I don't want to have to live up to a lot coming on this show. So the downplaying of just, I applaud you back, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot. I didn't, it's impossible to really put over everything you've accomplished in the wrestling business. So I just say a couple things so you don't have to really live up to the hype, kind of like a relaxed conversation between us.
Yes, sir. I agree with that assessment as well.
Okay, so WrestleMania weekend is upon us. This is obviously always the biggest weekend in sports entertainment. Roman, main eventing Night 2, the tribal chief. How do you feel going into this WrestleMania? There's going to be fans back. That has to be fucking good news, right, for everybody. How do you feel going into the weekend, though, Paul?
With my hands, besides that, I serve as special counsel to the tribal chief, the reigning, defending, undisputed, uncontroverted Universal Heavyweight Champion, the main event attraction at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns. I feel as he feels, and I feel very confident that what we will have this weekend is a demonstration of WWE's new megastar, the top box office attraction in sports, entertainment, and indeed sports entertainment. Not just in WWE, but all of sports entertainment. Roman Reigns. And I actually, to be blunt, because I'm older now, I'm wiser, I'm softer, admittedly, though not when I pop Viagra, but I have actually the feelings, which I really, really blame my children for. And it's why I have contempt and disdain for my own children, because they've kind of made me a mush. And I feel very bad for Edge and Daniel Bryan, because both of them have magnificent, wonderful, heartwarming comeback stories, and gonna get their asses.
Well, that's such. Hey, by the way, that's why. That's why you are Paul Heyman. That's why you are the man you are. Now, we're going to have to call him back to get a better connection. But what he was saying there is, hey, now that I'm older, I got a little bit more feelings. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Feel bad for Edge. I feel bad for Daniel Bryan. And for those of you that don't understand the wrestling business at all, what he was doing right there is he was trying to put over who Roman is fighting on Sunday night. The fact of the matter is, Night 2 WrestleMania, Roman Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan is 3 certain Hall of Famers into the NFL. One one already is, absolutely going to tear the place down. And anytime Paul Heyman gets to talk, you need to listen. Can't be broken up because of fucking service.
Yeah, of course, especially when he's going on about, Roman Reigns. We're talking about WrestleMania.
Well, he was about to go right there. And then, like, in the middle of it, it's just, kind of, you know why it is? You know what it is?
What's that?
Zoom fucking stinks.
Yeah, Zoom is the worst thing of all time.
Zoom stinks.
Can we get some FaceTimes here?
Hey, listen, what are we doing?
Come on.
Everybody's doing the Zoom business, and I appreciate it because it was very convenient like 14 months ago when all of us had to move to this tech world and we had to meet. I enjoyed it. I got a chance to do like reunion type things. Old teammates put Zooms together. Classmates put old Zooms together. Old friends groups put Zooms together. It was fantastic. But whenever you're talking about, now that we're 14 months later, Zooms have not adapted or overcome at all with modern technology or their problems.
Keep up.
If you're not having 50 people in one FaceTime, sure, go ahead, use Zoom.
Yeah.
But when it's one-on-one we're talking about Apple. We're talking about FaceTime.
We're talking about what Steve Jobs created.
Yes.
Then Timmy Cook took the reins. And what they've been able to build is a connection that Elon Musk would even be appreciative of.
Right.
Joining us back, ladies and gentlemen, special counsel to the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. The last answer you gave us was basically saying, I feel how Roman Reigns feels. And you said now that you're getting older with your kids, you're starting to feel bad for things. You're starting to become a mush. You're getting soft. Your words, not mine. Your words, not mine. And you're saying Edge, Daniel Bryan, their comeback stories are magnificent. They're big, but they just so happen to have a buzzsaw waiting for them on Sunday night. Ain't that right?
Yeah. They're gonna get beaten fugly. There's no way around it. I mean, this is going to be, as I used to say with Brock Lesnar, this is going to be a prison beating. And if you're a fan of Edge and Daniel Bryan, I highly encourage you to watch WrestleMania this Sunday because it's the last time you're going to see either one of them for quite some time because Roman Reigns is going to put a Samoan level beating on the two of them, the likes of which they can't even comprehend. I mean, they're walking in there with this sports entertainment fantasy that one of them is going to regain the championship, which is laughable at best. At best. They're walking into the ring with Roman Reigns at the top of his game, just entering his prime, having a 6 to 8 month period of his career like never before. They have no clue what they're walking into. Nothing.
At what point, because you were formerly, you did serve as Brock Lesnar's manager, I believe. I believe that advocate. So sorry.
Advocate.
Sorry.
Advocate to the beast.
That's on me. That's 100% on me. And it was. Yeah. I could never do it justice. But that was. At what point did you realize? Was it when you were alongside Brock? Was it when Brock and Roman took each other on? At what point did you realize, like, okay, Roman's gonna be the guy? At what point did you see it? Did you know all along, or was there a certain moment?
When Roman Reigns was 3 years old, his father was working in Continental Wrestling Federation, which at the time, the creative was being head by Eddie Gilbert, and I was Eddie Gilbert's assistant. And there was a show in Panama City, Florida, and Roman Reigns' father, the legendary WWE Hall of Famer Sika, came into the locker room, and he brought Roman Reigns with him. And at 3 years old, this young man already had so much personality and so much charisma, you could tell he was going to be a top-level, A1, top-tier star no matter what he did in his life. It just so happens he chose sports entertainment. But he would have been a star no matter what he did. I knew when he was 3 years old, there you go. There's the future. And obviously, I mean, again, now take a look. How did The Shield come into WWE? The Shield came into WWE to protect the championship reign of CM Punk. And who was CM Punk's special advisor? Who was CM Punk's advocate? Who was standing next to CM Punk? Paul Heyman. Who brought in The Shield? Paul Heyman. I've been seeing this in Roman Reigns since before anybody even realized I was seeing it in Roman Reigns.
There's a picture, I do believe, of the Hulkster, Sika, and Roman as a child, getting a chance to be in the wrestling business for, I said 90 years in your introduction, but it does feel like that way. There's these legendary tales of you sneaking into creative meetings when Dusty Rhodes was running things and everything like that. You've been a lifer for this thing since a teenager. Whenever you see somebody like Roman take his moment as the top guy, or somebody kind of build through there? What are your thoughts? Like whenever you see, like, because it's almost a passing of the torch. When Roman got that, it was a passing of the torch for an incredible billion-dollar worldwide industry at this point.
Right. Well, it's the natural evolution of the industry, and any industry that is, you talked about Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and these are disruptors. These are disruptors of the status quo, and Roman Reigns is a disruptor of the status quo. He's not content with where the industry is. There's an old expression, I'm sure you've heard it many times, in this business, on the football field, and in all the other various businesses that you're involved in. I didn't work this hard to get where I am to be content with where I am. Mm-hmm. And the industry can never be content with where it is, or the industry will lag instantly, or the competitors will then catch up and cut into your market share. So I look at Roman Reigns and I realize this is the natural evolution of the entire industry. This is where the industry is headed. And his level of greatness is unparalleled at the moment. And he will be dominant in this fashion until the day comes that someone comes along that can challenge him on his level of greatness, which at the moment, no one can.
Yeah, it does seem like he has cemented himself as miles ahead of everybody else, especially with you alongside him. I mean, you don't want to say it because you're so humble, obviously, but whenever you get added to something, it immediately makes it more important. It immediately makes it bigger because the person speaking for the person, or with the person, alongside the person, for the person, however you want to describe it, is maybe the greatest on-mic performer in the history of the business. So I think you need to maybe sell yourself a little bit better, but not that you wouldn't be able to do that if you were to talk about it yourself. But you're in there, when you get involved with Roman, it gets going so big. The thought this year was that there was potentially a Roman Rock Wrestlemania, because obviously, the tribal chief at the head of the table, I believe he was the king of the island. It seemed like that was a natural thing. Is that something you wanted to see? And who would that be better for, you think?
It'd be better for Rock.
For sure.
Oh my God! Look at the celebrity rub he gets from Roman Reigns.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I asked.
The Rock isn't the only A-lister right now that's knocking on the door trying to get into the ring with Roman Reigns, especially at WrestleMania, let alone at SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and all the other shows. It's Roman Reigns' time. Everybody wants to get into the ring with Roman Reigns. Everybody, from sports, from sports entertainment, people you wouldn't even think of, just saying, "Hey, wow, what a platform, what a forum, what an opportunity to rub up against someone." It'd be like getting onto the golf course with Tiger Woods. It'd be like getting to play a game of horse with LeBron James. It's when someone is that dominant, that on top of his game, that legendary already, and hasn't even hit the peak of his career yet. Who doesn't want to get into the ring with Roman Reigns? Except, of course, after Sunday, I bet you Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan won't want to get into the ring with Roman Reigns anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. Edge and Daniel Bryan probably won't ever want to step foot, maybe in the same building as Roman, with what's about to happen on Sunday, especially with how you're describing. I'm sure they have different plans, but the way you're describing things are going to go on. Whenever you have all these people asking, for a shot at the title, hey, listen, I want to get into a basketball game, a horse game, a three-point contest with Steph Curry. I want to get on the football field and be a wide receiver with Tom Brady or play against Tom. I want to get in the ring with him. How do you pick and choose? And I'm not saying you do this, special counsel. I assume it's a roundtable discussion if I'm reading the room right. How do you guys pick and choose which way you go? For instance, Daniel Bryan, Edge. This obviously came about. Edge comes back and he gets himself involved in this thing, it seems like. But how do you guys pick and choose where you're going to go for these massive? WrestleMania is massive. How is this what Roman and you and Jey Uso kind of chose for the weekend?
What's the biggest box office that we can attract? That's the number one priority. This is the business. It's a business with shareholders in a publicly traded company, and our obligation is to give them return on their investment in WWE. 2, what's the best story? Because the best story can lead to the biggest box office. So what's the best story? 3, what's the best match? And 3 doesn't always apply to 2 and 1, but it helps if it does. If there's customer satisfaction after the fact, that only helps sell the next show. It's the old
It's the old adage that every show is just an audition by the company for you to tune into the next show. So, but the number one priority is box office. This is a business, and we're looking to attract viewership, and we're commerce facilitators. We're here to sell you on a streaming service, on a pay-per-view, on buying a T-shirt, a souvenir program, a replica title, whatever it is. We're here to make money, and then of course it's just a matter of what's the best storyline to get to that money.
Man, Paul, you're so fucking good. There's so many ways I want to go here. The Peacock Network, massive, massive deal for the company that you work for, obviously. That's a big deal. It has been, when the WWE Network happened, Vince, and I assume anybody that was associated with him, was called an absolute idiot. You're going to lose all your customers, paying and charging for a monthly fee, taking down the allowing the pay-per-view to be a part of that. Then, obviously, now everybody's doing it. It seems like the WWE is always trailblazers in this entire thing. How do you, Roman, in the box office attraction, feel about the move to Peacock? Do you like this move? Do you appreciate this move? And how do you see the business going forward?
It's a $1 billion deal.
We like billion-dollar deals. We like billion-dollar deals.
We like billion-dollar deals. We now have 3 of them as a company. We have a $1 billion deal for SmackDown with Fox, which, by the way, now think about it, with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman every Friday Night Live. Wow, did Fox get us on the cheap?
Fox won,
yeah. Monday Night Raw with NBCU, that's a $1 billion deal. And now you have the Peacock deal, which is a $1 billion deal. And as I told the sports media podcast earlier this week, knowing Vince McMahon, he's already trying to figure out the first $1 trillion deal. If Elon Musk is going to colonize Mars, I'm telling you right now, Vince McMahon is looking to build a stadium on Mars and put a show on in front of it.
Hey, that's going to be a Vince McMahon territory, huh? Mars, you think that's going to be an entire thing? The evolution of the business, I think, has been exposed in different fashions, whether it's documentaries on the WWE Network that are incredible, that is now a part of the Peacock streaming service, or if it's something like Young Rock, by the way, which I don't know if you get a chance to watch on Tuesday nights and everything like that. How and why do you think sports entertainment, wrestling, has been able to sustain for this long, and there's no end in sight, it seems like? Why is it? I believe, let me get, as a fan, I'll tell you what I think, and then I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it as well. For me, it is everything you could possibly want. It's comedy, it's live action, it's drama, it's seeing things that you never see before, and you can kind of just get caught up in the stories and everything like that. But even as it feels like people attack wrestling, want to expose wrestling, it has staying power, always will. Why do you think that is?
Because it's good.
Easy as that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Hey, besides the need to reproduce, why do humans keep having sex? Because it's good.
Yeah.
It's larger than life personalities in compelling and riveting situations, working their asses off to entertain you in a fashion that you can't find anywhere else. It's also the most interactive product that you possibly, as Steph Curry and LeBron James and James Harden, they dunk a basketball. What's the interaction with the audience? None. It's the audience showering them with affirmation for their greatness and appreciation of their greatness. But they're not interacting with the audience. It's not a give and take. The audience doesn't play a role. The audience is just there to witness. Audiences don't witness in sports entertainment. Audiences participate. And when I really learned that, and so late, so late, hairball.
Yeah, all right.
So
Hey, we need a big night Sunday, okay? Big night Sunday. Let's not, let's take care of the hairball here.
Indeed. And no doubt, no argument, no excuses. And didn't charge much by the hour. So,
I interrupted you. I stopped your flow. We were talking about wrestling staying power and how fans participate and partake. And at what moment did you?
At what moment?
Yeah.
We went to Saudi Arabia for the first time. And I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know the audience's product knowledge. There's 70,000 people in a stadium in Saudi Arabia, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know what they know and what they don't know. And my shtick for a few years had been, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. I am the advocate for the reigning, defending. I'm a Jew boy from the Bronx in the Republic of Saudi Arabia. And I'm thinking, they ain't going to say this with me. I'm just going to do it real fast and get out of here and just. And I get the microphone and they cheer wildly. And I'm thinking, wow, I guess they just want to hear somebody talk. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, 70,000 people in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia saying, my name is Paul Heyman. I said, holy shit, this is so global. And that I kind of missed the point because it was so interactive.
Yeah.
That 70,000 people in Saudi Arabia want you to know their name is Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
A Jew boy from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And it's just the enormity and the absurdity of the interaction with the audience. It's why great actors will do movies to pay the bills, but they yearn for Broadway. Oh my God, they crave it. They have a lust for that live performance with a crowd.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
And that's the magic here.
You got a crowd coming back this weekend, 25,000. The fact that you guys have been able to entertain people without a live audience, with how important a live audience is, but everything you just said, by the way, and more. Now that I got a very small, I would still be undefeated if it wasn't for those two things.
Oh, yeah.
Those two things happen. But now that I kind of got a small taste of what it could potentially be with the audience and a little bit of a pop and with different protocols for COVID, more and less people in the Capitol Wrestling Center, the more people, the sound. That's coming back this weekend. It has to be a very joyful time right now in the WWE.
Well, it certainly is for Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, I'll tell you that, because no one's reaction is going to match ours this weekend.
I can't wait to watch it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I also found the fact that Goldberg won over in Saudi Arabia also awesome. I think that in a place went crazy over there. I think that is also awesome. But Paul, I can't thank you enough for your time, man. You're the best.
Sir, I am as big an admirer of yours as you are of mine.
That's not true. That's not true. Because
you're right. But come on, I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Heyman. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, me. Thank you, me. Thank you, Paul.
Great.
That was great. That guy was really good. That guy's good. Real good. Did you hear what people are saying back here, Paul?
He's awesome.
Who listens to them?
Oh, yeah. Paul Heyman. Thank you, man.
You, Mr. Heyman.
He's awesome. He's been in business long time.
Electric. Every time he opened his mouth for an answer, it was electricity.
Him in the middle of Saudi Arabia, by the way, walking out there, because when he walks, by the way, it is as if he is.
It's a Gallivant.
He is a Gallivant. He walks, him walking down that thing, wondering to himself, how is this going to go? And then as soon as he opens his mouth, that whole place just blowing the roof off. I would assume
cool.
I assume that is a very cool thing. Wrestling is something that brings together, it seems like, everybody on earth at this point in great business.
Oh, yeah. Truly global.
$3 billion deals they got.
Yeah.
Sir.
Looking for his first one. Him saying, Vince, if Elon's trying to get up on Mars, Vince is trying to get a territory up there. That is a hilarious thought.
Imagine those aliens.
What were you going to say, Foxy?
And you have to go live because the crowd experience is unlike anything you'll ever get anywhere.
So dumb.
It's awesome.
Now, you need a couple people in the crowd to be like, I don't want to say like advocates, which makes sense, but you need a couple people in the crowd that are kind of leading the way.
Yeah.
So I've seen some arenas on TV where there is nobody that seems to be, or maybe they're all the way up in the top and you can't really see it. Whenever there are people that are down on the bottom that are like actual wrestling fans and like get wrestling and appreciate wrestling and understand wrestling, whenever those you like that stuff, and then because if 2 people, 3 people say it, other people say it. The reason why I enjoyed my time so much in the wrestling world was because you could literally look at some kid. I looked at a child, 13, 14 years old, glass in between, a plexiglass, with his dad right behind him, and they were both booing me. And I look at the dad, I say, you suck. And I look at the kid, I go, you're going to be an absolute nobody. Like right in this kid's face, pointing at the glass. And the kid, instead of like getting software, he's, I'll be better than you. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is what, you know what I mean? That's off air, by the way, that happens. Yeah. That happened off air. That was literally just for me. And like there was a couple times as the show was either in commercial and it wasn't on TV, or at the end of the night or whatever, whenever everything was wrapping up, or maybe even after the War Games match, whenever we had gone off air and I have to kind of, I'm getting out of there or whatever. The moments between me and the people at those things were, I think, what I dreamed about being a wrestler for a kid so much. Just like looking at a guy and just telling him, you are the ugliest human I've ever seen in my life. And just them firing right back, by the way. It's like, it's a lost thing that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, and what he said, which I found really interesting, was, at sporting events, people are there to witness everything. But at, wrestling events,
they take over. Hey,
they're part of the show. They are part of the show.
I have been a part of crowds that have taken over a show in wrestling before.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen, I understand you guys got a job to do, and now that I've been in there, it's like kind of fucked up. You know what I mean?
Pipe down.
Hey, like last night, for instance, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole, scumbag, we know that. Kyle O'Reilly is, I don't think he's a scumbag, he's stupid. I've been telling him his entire life, basically, that Adam Cole is the worst person on earth and everything. They battled that. They beat the shit out of each other. There's a good crowd, though, down there, right?
Yeah.
Because the way the protocol has changed. They started chanting, we want tables, and I was like, there are 2 chairs on there? They got some chains out there. Like, we want tables. It's like, that's what fans can do, though. They can be like, nah, this ain't it, boss.
Make it bigger.
Hey, this ain't it. That's what
Where's the ladders?
All right, let's get to Eric in Hawaii. Aloha, Eric. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, what's going on, Pat and the boys? How are we doing on this Feel Good Friday?
Not too shabby. How are you, brother?
Good, brother, good. I got 2 statements and a question for Zito, man.
Okay.
The For the Brand sweatshirt is so fucking comfy, man. Oh, my God. I can't believe it.
Awesome.
That's true.
Awesome. We appreciate that. That means a lot. That's good news, by the way, because, our merch business, I'm not necessarily the most proud of, so I don't promote it all the time. But I do believe right now with the way the world is and, evergreen, and, everything going on, it's not easy to do. So big shout out to the people that make it happen, which we appreciate. CFO Phil's a big part of that. I know it's not easy, so we appreciate the fact that you like the way that thing feels.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, my next statement, the pod is the best show on earth next to this show, man. Yeah. It really is.
The pod's
and, hey, Zito, what the hell are we doing in Chicago, brother?
Bear down. Bears all the way down.
I don't know. I saw Darnell Mooney highlight film, and I am all in.
I don't know who that is.
The best receiver in the game right now.
I'm joking.
Well, why
did
they
you guys
trade
sign him, or no? He's been there for a while, or?
Oh, we saw him at Tulane 2 years ago. Or a year and a half ago.
Oh, did he score the?
Basically, yeah.
No, that was the I know who scored the game winner for Tulane. That was a transfer from OK State.
Hey, the draft.
He led that up, though.
Hey, just think the Bears, though. They already sacrificed allegedly 4 first-rounders or 3 first-rounders and 2 starters or whatever. Let's not get. Maybe the Bears get a little crazy during the draft and try to make some moves to get up there. Maybe they're the team that bundles some picks together and goes up and gets Kyle Pitts.
Ooh, wow. Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, baby.
Why not?
Hey, you know what? Have Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. Have Nagy being the one because I think he's proven that he can figure it out. He can figure that whole thing out.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Yeah, I don't know. The Bears probably not going to do that.
17-0, baby.
There's a chance a team will do that, though.
Yeah, that's why the draft, back to what we talked about, is the greatest.
Yeah. And then you watch it, like, oh my God, all right. Yeah. This is getting a bit boring.
It's an 8-hour for one round.
We don't know yet.
Good Lord.
What have we been doing the last 3-4 months here?
Why do the Jags have 15 minutes on the clock? We know who they're taking already.
You guys have been on the clock for the last 4 years.
Come on.
Figure it out.
Just pick them.
Hell yeah.
Out of Clemson.
Well, allegedly, a lot of them are potentially waiting to see if any trades are coming.
Ooh.
So the NFL should make a way for them to find out whether or not a trade's coming with like maybe a little button. And if there's no button, you're not going to get a trade. Okay, we got to make our pick then so we can expedite it.
Kevin Costner.
Bingo, he's making calls.
Or just like, hey, this is what we want. If you don't bring that to the table, don't even call.
Yeah, but that's why they take so goddamn long.
Yeah.
And it does take, but we'll be there for our annual first round draft spectacular, which will have surprise guests. Who are they? We are not sure, but it will be a surprise and they will be large. In the next hour, we have Jordan Palmer. This is the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you then. But let's talk about what happened directly outside of WrestleMania in the MetLife parking lot.
And this guy tells Zeke, yeah, hey, just follow that car right down that way.
If that awning was literally 6 inches lower, I'm dead.
Hey, who the fuck told you guys to drive down there?
So I get a text from Nick that says, call me when you can. And I never get that type of text from Nick, right?
Granted, it's unfortunate that, the boys, the Roadhawks, didn't have their WrestleMania moment. We talked about it earlier. All of us felt like we were in like a trench in World War II. Tell you what, the WWF will be proud. That's a lot of fucking destruction. I thought the entire building was coming down.
The best looking uprights I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, who the fuck told you guys to drive underneath there? I will never forget April 7th.
Ain't nothing Lady Grey can't handle.
Turn left onto 33rd Street.
They said to come to the loading dock.
Yeah, they want to set up a shot, so they're going to come out with cameras and like show they were tailgating.
Tailgate spot.
Their U-turn?
Is that what he's saying? We're just doing a U-turn.
Want to move up?
And this guy tells Zeke, yeah, hey, just follow that car right down that way. And so we're thinking, okay, no problem.
Backing up.
So Zeke moseys on down this way and just fucking
Jesus Christ. I think it's stuck. Fuck. I fucking told you guys. Like, come on, dude.
Who told you to go through here?
These guys did.
Nah, you supposed to come through this shot like right here. I didn't tell you to go through there.
You told me to
Yeah, right down this lane here.
Fuck.
It's a left side.
Come on, guys. Fucking A.
I'll be looking out there.
Oh, fuck.
So what you just heard was a RV that was clearly too tall for an awning that was hanging over. And Zito was going so fast in that the entire RV ended up under the awning.
Yep.
And it wasn't until they were all the way under that Zito said, "Oh, I think we're stuck." And at that moment, he puts it in reverse and rides back through all of it. And that's what the piercing sound of metal that you heard ripping through.
Fuck, push me, dude.
Fucking dude. How we did fucking everything up there? The backside fucked too? How's it going, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just keep fucking sending us through here.
I just sent somebody out. Just hang tight, all right? Did you check the top?
It's destroyed.
Scratched up?
No, like the whole thing's. Oh, fuck.
Yeah?
Like, they're gonna fucking send me fucking through somewhere.
You good though? Everybody all right in there?
Yeah.
Stay calm.
Yeah, you're right, Jake.
Calm, kid. They told you to go through. You want to? Suck your clearance.
I am on the bus with the rest of the WWE roster driving by. There's 2 fire trucks, there's a cop, there's paramedics, there's quite a scene.
Fucking A. How's it going, sir? Oh, yeah, they sent me through, and I was just like, all right. Yeah.
And we're just rolling by going into the fucking MetLife Stadium, and I get a Corey Graves. Is that your RV?
Yeah, you guys hear about McAfee's guys? Drove a fucking RV into the arena? Into the arena.
That road to Wrestlemania, man.
Hey, I'll tell you what, that's the furthest I've ever seen any vehicle get underneath that fucking awning. Look at the ladder on the back of the RV, it's almost fucking off.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to that show. It is Friday, April 9th, 2021. In this hour, we will chat with Jordan Palmer and all of you with your phone calls. Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Digz has joined us in the studio. Digz is the host of The Daily Show titled Hammered Don, which is on the Hammered Don YouTube. It is a gambling show that comes out of this office every single day now. Whenever he gets done planning for that, and if his energy's good, he'll come in for this show. But I would like that show to be a great gambling show, entertaining, informative, everything like unique, everything like maybe a nimble, a move around. Like, I'm very excited for that show. And I'll tell you what, the daily run has started off with quite a bang, huh, Cozy Cowboy?
When I am done hunting winners and done playing the show, I will come in here and fucking great show yesterday. Nick went 5-2 on hockey. Gumpy was 3-1 in MLB, but he only got because he was a homer and picked the Sox. So
they won.
They ended up winning, but first 5.
Hey, this is 8-3 between these
8-3.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, wait till you hear what Tony did.
And then I got back from the sun this morning, went 9-0.
Let's go 17-3. Is that good?
Is that good?
Is 9-0 good? By the way, if this is what Tone Digz is going to become now that he spends all his time actually hunting winners, remember.
This is what happened.
Remember when he was in the COVID cave and all he was doing was sleeping because he was dead tired, getting food delivered to him from his, I think, fiance at the time, wife at the time, underneath the door as if he was a prisoner and he was locked away. All he did was hunt winners. That's literally all he did. He had his greatest gambling accomplishments as he was in the COVID cave. So he comes out of it, how was it? Well, I'm an unicorn now. He starts going on his entire run. And then he also says, I also was hot in there as a gambler. Now that he's potentially doing that, Is this what we're about to see full time down here, Digz?
I mean, who says not, Pat? Who says that's my new COVID cave out there during the show? You guys come in here, I fucking lock in. I fucking like the social network where I'm dialed in.
Coding, coding. Please don't. Is it wiring?
Wired in.
Wired in. They're coding. They're wired in right now. Remember when? Who walks in there?
Edward.
Was it the guy that did not choose to go out there?
Exactly.
What an idiot that guy.
Fool. Finance guys.
Yeah, interesting. You would think you would make the flight over to California there if you're that guy from New York. But the thought of Justin Timberlake, walking into that house and just being like, what the hell's going on? Oh, yeah, they're just They are so out of their mind right now. They're just typing letters right now to keep this thing going. It's like, oh, I love this. But they had to know that they were going to make $1 bazillion at that exact moment while people were wired in. I'm starting to feel that way about Digz.
Yeah.
You know, with what he's doing in the sports. There might be a chance that the Hammer Don show gets banned from some sports books. It's becoming like an algorithm at this point.
Don't let him in.
You want my fucking money, FanDuel? Fucking come take it from my
Yeah, well, it took a lot from me. That show is 4 o'clock every single day. Hammer Don, YouTube. Great to see you, COVID Cowboy. 9-0 is unfucking believable.
Yeah.
17-3 as a show is pretty good. Hey, listen, I'm going to expect that now. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, I'm parlaying the picks tonight, so let's
not
do the same
forget.
thing.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, Foxy did go 0-1.
Which
is actually good.
What the hell,
This
dude?
was supposed to be a celebration.
No, that's good because that's actually 1-0.
Supposed to fade him.
Because he's supposed to lose.
Not in my bank account.
Yeah, you stink, though. I stink, too, Foxy. I've lost all the money in my account
I
as
think
well.
you lost a lot of that money because
I was riding the Foxy train.
Yeah.
Because I was supportive of my friend who was getting bashed by everybody. This guy stinks. I'm like, no, Foxy, this is your best pick. You're gonna
Thank
get
you, Fox.
And Foxy does, by the way. At this point, I can tell you, after emptying my bank account while riding alongside, that guy stinks. So much so that's good for gambling, actually, because you just know that the hashtag Fade Foxy train is going to be one that's probably going to be profitable 60 to 70% of the time, which is way above anybody else. And if you talk about COVID Cave Digz and now full-time gambling show host Digz, I mean, there's a chance for some real money made on Hammer
What's
Down.
the best footy better in all the land?
Yeah. Have you and that guy gotten over your little beef?
Nigel.
That British
I
guy?
believe we reached out to have him come on.
He's going to come on Hammer Down.
That's good news. I'm happy you two are combining your powers together. Speaking of British fella, Prince Philip passed away.
Rest in peace.
Moment of silence. Moments passed. I did not know he was still alive, but I am, rest in peace. Bub.
Yeah,
Rest
Twitter was a buzz this morning.
Yeah, it was rude.
Prince.
Yeah.
They were.
I learned a lot about that guy. I didn't even know he was still alive. I remember I did learn about him via The Crown. And in the early seasons where I watched, he was a guy you want to smack right in the fucking mouth.
Not the best guy in the show.
But in the show, you want to smack him right in the mouth. But then I guess in the later seasons that I stopped watching because my queen was no longer the queen. They changed queens because of age and everything like that, so they had to. So I kind of lost that whole thing. I lost interest in the whole thing. I guess he did get better. The internet world, though, was sending a lot of mixed signals.
Man, they were burying him.
I don't know the guy. Rest in peace, though.
Yeah.
The queen, though, she might live forever at this point.
Oh, yeah, she's still going strong.
Cyborg.
Long live the queen.
He was what, 99?
99, yeah.
98 or 99?
99.
99 years old.
Yeah.
How old is the queen?
She can't be too far.
Hey, hell of a question, my friend.
I'm going to say 96.
Okay, Mansouri just gave a 92 in the back. You said 96. Over-under is?
94.
Price is Right rules. Mansouri closer and also the winner of this.
I didn't know his Price is Right rules. If I
Everything
knew that.
is Price is
If I knew that, I would have guessed 94.
No, you knew Price is Right rules.
No.
Always.
No.
Turns 95, April 21st.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Queen.
Happy birthday, Queen.
Happy birthday, Queen. Was Prince Philip the one that they were talking about in that Oprah interview?
There are a lot of theories around Prince Philip.
Because if I learned anything this morning, Princess Di liked Prince Philip early. I don't know. The internet was like saying when Princess Di was in heaven, when he shows up there was something going to happen. But I think there was, I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff about him being stuck in the past and that he wasn't the most forward thinker.
So is he
a lot of things. Some people assume that he was one of the ones back behind that curtain.
Oh, he's not. So I don't know anything. Legitimately, the extent of my knowledge of this human is The Crown, the first couple seasons.
That's why we have our royal correspondent.
Yeah, so now we got a royal correspondent,
which I am,
and a Canadian here.
I mean, look, I wake up for the royal wedding, so I've done that stuff. I can confirm that.
You do not do that.
I did for Markle's wedding. I woke up for it.
And he watched Harry Potter.
5 a.m. And I watched Harry Potter.
What does that have anything to do?
Based out of London,
Oh, it's in England.
It's in England.
Oh, okay. I watch UEFA every once in a while.
There you go. But that's all Europe. There's so many different kings and queens
when
over
they
there.
play over there in the, what is it, the English
Oh,
league?
the EPL.
English Premier League.
That one.
It's
You
coming home.
spit into your closet at night. There's no way you woke up early.
I don't spit into my closet. I spit onto the wall sometimes when I have a loogie. Okay, you can't knock me for that.
Okay, so we have to explain that now too. A very small crowd probably remembers that happened. They lived in a shitty place he had a hole in his wall.
Yeah.
And in the night, if he had to spit, he would get up, put his mouth in the hole of his bedroom wall, and spit, and have no idea where it's going, and he would just unload in there. I would assume you also attempted to.
No, I never tried to dump in there, but I also, not every single time would I get up to spit in it. I would also work on my range just from the bed. And, you know, a lot of times you go in there.
See, think about that.
It's so gross.
Think about that. You guys tried to defend that place.
Still,
you were spitting on the floor.
We didn't know about that.
You were spitting on the floor.
Which
in the walls
adds
of that
to
place.
the allure, though, when you think about how awesome that place was.
I'm surprised those stairs down to the laundry room didn't take a life, man.
They should.
Every time I went down there, I thought it was over.
We're talking about the pub, which is where Zito, Connor, and Foxy lived for a couple of years. When they were paid actual money to do something, they were living in a place as if they had $0 in their bank account. It was the shittiest house for probably a 3 square mile area. It should have been condemned. The neighbor shot himself, then you guys got blamed for it. You were stealing. They had cameras. Your neighbors had cameras on the house at all times. So much so that Foxy got caught throwing a box into somebody else's dumpster in the neighborhood app because they thought whoever was in this house had to be the biggest scumbags on earth. I did not enjoy this place because I thought it made me look bad as if I wasn't paying these guys.
It was 2,000 square feet, though.
Yeah, but it was just a big dump. It was just a big dump.
And the floors were slanted.
And there was 3 stairs to go down to a basement that was 2 stories deep. I mean, it was just like the whole place. It was, you're spitting on the floors and the
walls.
I'm happy you guys have matured past that.
Me too.
But I mean, you just laid out a lot of good memories. That was
I know. I might go back there and smoke a pack of butts on the porch tonight.
Listen, I showed up there. Every time I got there, I was just so disgusted. I'm like, boys, come on, dude. This
you got a bar for it.
Yeah, well, I did. That was Samantha that did
Not to mention the 8,000 cigarettes littering the front and back porch, too.
Well, and in that hole.
Oh, yeah.
It was just in between the walls.
Yeah, wake up
which
at
probably helps the smell, I'd assume. You guys.
Old cigs smell great.
Should have been condemned. We're not going to talk about it because it makes me upset.
It was killing the rats, though.
Exactly.
But just like your quality of life, like I'm like, hey guys, like let's get you got enough money, let's get a good place. Quality of life goes up. But now I'm kind of thankful because if you get a better place, you're spitting all over the walls and spitting on the floors. There's no way that particular whoever you're running it from or whatever wouldn't have like said, hey Pat, your guys are just pissing and spitting all over the walls.
I will say objection. There was one person doing that.
Objection sustained.
Yeah,
dude.
plus I've put a pee pad down that, my puppy had. Now I just use it for when I do spit on the ground. So
how is Bingo?
Bingo's doing good. He's almost the size of this table. He's going to be a big boy.
I never understood those I've walked
potty
into,
pads.
I understand that. I've walked into a couple of my friends' apartments or whatever in places, and they just have a little thing on the floor. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, the dog. That's where pees and poops and everything like that. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So you could teach them to piss and shit on this thing here? Like, yeah. I'm like, so you probably could have taught him also to potentially go ring a bell on the door to go down the elevator to go outside to go piss and shit potentially.
Yeah, which is what he does now.
And then I was told by a couple of my friends, like, hey, 30 floors, dude, that's a long time. Okay, you see how small this thing is there? So there's a lot of people that do the peeing and pissing in there, a lot of dogs that do it. I'm happy to find out that you are one of the owners, which I assume are many, will also pee on there if they have to.
Well, yeah, and I mean, now that we have potty trained them officially, we have all these leftover potty pads. I'm not just going to throw them out, let them go to waste. I'm going to use them.
Smart. Very smart.
Are you peeing on your floor?
There are some things happening in the world that we do have to talk about. Dak Prescott is throwing footballs again.
Yeah, Dak!
Listen, Dak's injury was gruesome. I mean, one person thought it was potentially a cramp. The rest of the world thought it was maybe the worst injury that we had ever seen on a football field. So much so that some places actually had like the sensor over top of it so you couldn't see it, or they blurred it out or whatever. That was obviously on a franchise tag year after his contract conversation was one that was being had by everybody on earth. They lock in a long-term deal. He's been doing his rehab with Dallas Cowboys affiliated doctors. So I think everybody within the Dallas Cowboys organization, Jerry Jones included, Dak Prescott included, thought they were going to be able to get a deal done. Even though there was some moments, I think publicly it seemed a bit contentious, they end up locking in a massive deal for Dak to stay down there. And immediately upon learning that the Dallas Cowboys doctors were treating Dak Prescott, we immediately thought, okay, so they must know something about his recovery and how he's doing. Here we are a few weeks later after the deal is signed, and he is throwing a ball. He He looks like he is well on his way. This is courtesy of Damian Devon. He is throwing like little stop patterns out, just a simple little out route. The biggest thing for me that I noticed is when he stumbled out of frame, it was obvious that he was a couple months away, but the fact that he can flip his hips, pivot, and throw a ball about 25 yards at that point, I think it looks like, if I had to eyeball it, that is great news for all Dallas Cowboys fans, and I assume Dak Prescott is incredibly pumped with where he's at in his rehab.
Is he going to have to change his game, you think, in this season because of the injury?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe mentally he will.
Yeah.
Because a big part of coming off an injury is mentally.
Yeah.
Like you have to mentally be okay with a lot of things. The same situation that hurt you in the past, you have to be okay with it. You have to be okay with your rehab process, so much so that you're confident that the pain that you're feeling right now is normal and you can get past it and it's not going to do any more damage. That is a real problem. It appears as if Dak will be able to get past that. Most NFL guys, almost all NFL guys can, but that is something that doesn't get talked about as you're coming through your rehab. Brooks Koepka right now, I have no idea how he's doing what he's doing. It has to hurt so bad. He has to have a constant fear of potentially doing more damage with how bad it's hurting, but you're not going to. But just with the pain you're feeling, it's not normal to be like, yeah, this feels good whenever you're doing something. So that's a massive part of rehab. I would assume he's getting past all of that, and that's good news for the NFL. We get Dak Prescott back.
Well, it's a different sport, but like Paul George, Gordon Hayward, those dudes who had like terrible, disgusting injuries, they always said, look, it was 1 year of rehab and there was 1 year of like actually playing the game until they were comfortable again to do what they usually do.
I think Gordon Hayward said something about that as well after he came back from an injury. He said he didn't feel comfortable with his body, and it's not that your body can't do maybe what it was able to, and maybe it can't because you haven't built it back, but also when you rehab, you're reteaching things how to do very elementary level things. So like you're teaching your knee how to bend again and how to walk again. You have to teach yourself how to walk again, and at some points mentally you're like, I can't do it, but I don't know if it can do it. You start questioning a lot. Like my leg, I feel very confident how strong my leg is. Very, very, very confident. I always have. I worked my ass off on it. There was moments in my rehab where I thought I could potentially not even walk 15 feet because my knee couldn't keep up with it, and you have to be told, no, you're good, go. That's a big part of getting comfortable with yourself. It seems like Dak's all the way there. He's flipping his hips. He's pivoting off of that thing. Now, he's not digging in as much as you would think. When he drops out, it looks like he is limping a bit. He's not as comfortable. But man, if you got to be pumped if you're Dak's trainers or Dak's fans.
It's going to help him if he gets hit early too. Like Alex Smith, one of his first couple plays, he gave Aaron Donald a piggyback ride. And he's probably like, all right, I can do this again.
What did Aaron Donald say? He gave me a mother.
Leg strong.
Yeah, I think he said something like that. Because, by the way, now we know that Ron Rivera was not very comfortable with putting out Alex Smith. He was like, what happens? And I will. And Alex Smith was like, it seemed like there was maybe a little bit of a contentious conversation or a contentious feel to that whole thing. And if it wasn't for the Dwayne Haskins situation, which we still haven't really completely heard all of what happened there with him getting moved on, I don't think Alex Smith plays. But I would assume Aaron Donald, now he did hop on his back. I assume there were some guys that were like, we're going to break this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance we are going to break this dude. Oh, my, no, not careful, but like, I don't think they would mind if.
Of course not.
You know what I mean? Like, especially D-line with quarterbacks. It's just like one of those things. But I assume there was conversations like, hey, there's a chance something terrible happens to this guy. Now, it would feel bad for the man or whatever, and then there'll be somebody else like, they're putting him out there, fuck him.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, yeah, you're 100% right. And that's where Rivera was probably like, I'm the one that's putting him out here. This is on me. Has Alex Smith signed anywhere?
No. We thought Jacksonville, but they signed, they just signed somebody as their backup.
Man, I was all in on him going to Jacksonville, too. I actually said, this decision has been made. What are people talking about? He has not signed there yet. Maybe they'll wait for the draft. I don't know. We'll talk to Jordan Palmer here in about 5 minutes, who's Trevor Lawrence's draft training, whatever, QB.
Guru.
He said, I'm not a guru, though. I'm just... Remember, he said that to us.
Hey, that is a savant.
Yeah, he's a quarterback savant. With the founder of the Quarterback Summit. We'll talk to him about, the backup quarterback role. Have you talked to Trevor Lawrence about that? And who do you think it should potentially be? What style of quarterback? Because I do think that is pretty riveting. Zito, what were you going to say? I saw you wanted to get in there.
Oh, it was before, but like the mental state of like coming back from an injury, are you thinking it's going to happen again when you're doing like...
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, his leg's going to snap again if he moves.
Yeah, that's you have to get over that feeling, too.
Like, for your leg, like, your knee, like, what was, like, the step to get past that?
Yeah, well, just, like,
Just do it.
They just had to tell me,
telling
like,
you,
you're
yeah.
not gonna,
Yeah.
because I would swing and it would feel like my leg was just like locked up,
Don't
and I'm
go.
like, oh my god,
It's happening again.
bro, I'm not doing this again. Like, I'm not doing this again. They're like, no, you're good. You just got to get through it or whatever. I'm like, it took me, I would say, I don't know if it was weeks, but days. Whenever I got to the point where I was strong enough to hit balls.
Yeah.
I was at the point where it was like, okay, I think I can go. I can get back. But every time I would go, the first couple of days, it was like, man, this hurts bad. And they're like, no, you're good. I'm like, I mean, I trust you, motherfucker.
That first.
I don't know if you feel
that
what I'm
first full
feeling.
kick has to be.
Oh, it fucking hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. Like Forrest Gump. They show Forrest Gump running out of those things, you know, and it's like a feeling of freedom that he had. For me, that first one, I thought I broke my entire leg again. And then all the athletic trainers over there and physical therapists and doctors for the Colts were rather good friends of mine. Yeah. Like, nope, keep swinging the boomstick, pal.
So hard to get past. I tore my same quad 3 times. I still don't trust that thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a feeling whenever you're maybe about to go do something different too. Like I kicked off, obviously, and I did other things. Whenever you would go do that, where it was like, oh, now this is going to be the one that gets it though, for sure. And they're like, no, you just got to have like somebody in your ear that's like, that feeling you have, that it seems as if everything you did about 6 months ago to your knee, it's not the real thing. Yep. It's not the same feeling. It's like, you sure? Bro, I was not able to get out of bed for 20 minutes or for like 21 days or something like that. I am not doing that again. I just can't do it. So it's, that's a big deal. I like that Dak is there, and I'm not saying Dak would not be able to do that. I'm just saying that is a real part of the rehab process. It seems like he's pretty far past that.
And you think he might go to Jerry like, hey, you know what would really help my leg is if you draft Kyle Pitts with that first pick, and this offense will really be rolling.
I don't know if Dak has to say that. It sounds like Jerry's about to say that to himself. Yeah. The defensive side of the ball, though, was quite a big question mark as well. Now, was that the scheme? Was that the players not buying in? Was that potentially where the leaks were coming from about the coaches not coaching? You know, hopefully another year in a system will be able to actually judge what the Dallas Cowboys are. But that thing could go to hell, too. I mean, we have no idea what this Dallas Cowboys team is going to be. I would like to say they're going to be great. A.J. Hawk picked them to be in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
A lot of targets, a lot of weapons. Dak is back. Mike McCarthy has won a Super Bowl before. Mm-hmm. But if you go off of what happened last year, especially after Dak left there for a bit, I mean, at the end, I guess they kind of started winning some games, but it was ugly in Dallas. It almost feels like maybe it's a restart here. The COVID protocols, new coaching staff. Maybe they didn't get to meet. But the Dallas Cowboys are a massive question mark for me. And if they don't, get better on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not 100% sure Dak and the boys are ever going to be able to score enough to keep up, to get to where they want to be, which is the Super Bowl.
Well, in that secondary, like you said, they were, first and second year guys. I think they added Keanu Neal from the Falcons to be their like kind of veteran safety back there. And they got Stephon Diggs' brother going into his second year, who everyone loves.
And he's a player.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to a break here. Jordan Palmer will join us on the other side. The Cowboys, it'd be very cool if they were very good.
Yeah, it's like the Knicks in basketball. Hey, it's better for the league when those teams, are doing well. Even though, Fitzmagic is with the football team.
Yes, it is.
You love to see Magic do well.
They muted this thing.
Jay, come on.
It wasn't Jay. The thing did the thing.
Spotify.
They did the Remind Me Tomorrow thing. Then they did the thing. This thing.
I'd have to switch to a different, music platform.
I'm not. It's the.
Oh, it's the whole entire product.
Yeah, it's the whole entire computer.
Good Lord.
This thing stinks. And that's why this guy came along and just made everything easier.
Yeah.
You could spill a whole drink on it. You're fine.
Bingo. By the way, all you tech nerds that are coming after me for being wrong, blah, blah, blah.
Look at us now.
It's cleaner than it's ever been.
How about that?
Better than it's ever been. This thing never gets used, by the way. The only time it gets used is for the show, for me to open the YouTube thing up, keep it on the screen.
That thing's a monster, by the way.
This computer?
Oh, it's a monster.
Yeah, I guess they say this thing can do a lot.
A lot.
I only need to do one thing. Okay? I only need this thing to do one thing. It can't fucking do it. All right, so that's how I'm judging. I know this one could probably do about 20 to 30x that this thing can.
Yeah.
Maybe 100 to 200x this thing can. Okay? Yeah. I know that very much. But all I need to do is one thing. Can't do it.
Get the job done.
Let's get to a break. Jordan Palmer founder of the Quarterback Summit, joins us on the other side.
Yeah.
Currently working alongside Trevor Lawrence and plenty of other quarterbacks that you love, including Josh Allen and the boys. Sam Darnold as well. We'll talk about all things quarterbacking in the NFL and going into the NFL with legendary quarterback conversation haver Jordan Palmer. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 9th.
We are in the go-home stretch to WrestleMania. Seth is very invested in making sure that Cesaro comes out on the other side of this looking like $1 million.
Hey, from your lips to Vince's ears. They take a guy in Miro who should have been brought in as somebody who destroys people, and they made him into Twitch gamer guy.
The almighty champion that you're building, Bobby Lashley, why are you having a 2-segment match with a cruiserweight going into WrestleMania?
I think he's terrific, and I think he's going to be in a wheelchair.
Oh, Jesus.
Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. That has been done in spectacular fashion. I've joked around that the loser has to go to Raw.
The guy's name is Shane McMahon. If he was Shane Stevens, he'd be a really hopped-up dancing guy that throws a pretty mean punch.
No two people have ever been less funny that thought they were funny than Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. I think everyone should listen to me on every subject. That's all I'm saying.
Welcome to Hammer Dad! Dad! The #1 sports gambling podcast coming out of the Pat McAfee Incorporated offices is now live 5 days a week at 4 p.m. Woo! With me and Bubba Gumpino and a host of a cast of characters and guests. We're going to try to get guests every single day. We'll be covering all the gambling knowledge that you need. MLB, NBA, football, footy. Anything else, pal?
Everything. Guess, baseball, basketball, footy. We'll even dive into NFL futures coming up. And most importantly, winners, Tony.
Winners, we are hunting winners every single day, live 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. You can find us on our own YouTube channel. Search us, Hammer Down on YouTube. Coming to you live every single day, 4 p.m. Hammer Down!
Hey, listen, tonight, you in the red, you in the blue. I hate you both, and fuck you too. Before I leave here, I'm knocking all of you out. Cheers. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You too. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Bang, and I'm out. Give me out.
Every day is game day for these guys. It's showtime on the Pat McAfee Show.
Welcome back to that show. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, a man who is the founder of the Quarterback Summit, which it seems to be an Illuminati of quarterbacks that hang out and train together.
Truly.
Yeah.
He's a savant in the quarterback business, in the quarterback world. Joining us to chat about everything happening in the quarterback world, ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Palmer.
Yeah!
Hey, it was louder. No,
Guy's louder.
No, I was about to say it was loud that time. We actually had a reminder beforehand, like, hey, Jordan likes this thing loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need that energy. Like you need to get that desk cleared. You got some serious paperwork to tend to, Pat.
Jordan, listen, you don't even know what you just started. I mean, it has been a topic of conversation, not only around here, but by a few viewers of the show as well. A lot of people say they get anxiety, they get panic attacks. I did happen to spill a green tea all over my MacBook a week or two ago. I mean, it is, but by the way, I took care of it. Tech guy, I understand what's going on.
About that.
But you're right. There's a lot going on here. What we don't have here, though, interestingly enough, you see, we got, I believe Jesus is over there.
Yep.
Bob Ross is there. Aaron Rodgers is here. Shout out Jared Lorenzen. Rest in peace. All right. AJ Hawk is here. Mm-hmm. I think we were supposed to have a Jordan Palmer and a Carson Palmer one.
Yeah.
But there was a lie. Just an absolute lie was told to us by somebody. Is that true?
Somebody sent me the address because it's a Carson Palmer 2002 bobblehead from the draft. We were in a suit and a Bengals hat, and you asked for both of our autographs, and I have it. So I need an address.
Okay, so we're making okay, we appreciate that. We'll get you the address. Let's talk about the draft, though. Does everybody get a bobblehead draft? And does every person that gets a bobblehead at the draft that gets drafted first, do they just train with you? Is that what happens? Is that how this whole thing
They
goes?
get an NFT, and then they sell it for $1 trillion. As I follow along with this emerging market. No, this has been a fun year. It's been an interesting draft year with Trevor, just with the surgery and the pandemic, and then the early pro day. We bumped a pro day up 6 weeks, which has really never been done before. And so it's been an interesting offseason, but it's been a blast, and I'm ready to watch this draft. I think this one's going to be awesome. This first round is going to be fireworks.
It feels like there's going to be a lot of action. And before we move to that, I do want to ask one more question about Trevor Lawrence. Why did he have to move that pro day? Is that for the wide receivers? I mean, why did he want to just do one? Why was it like a man? Because immediately upon me seeing it, and they're like, he's getting surgery tomorrow. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Why is he even? Because he's got a full rehab. His throwing motion, right, could potentially be a little bit different than it is right now if he's getting a shoulder surgery or anything. Like, why did he have the pro day? I don't understand, because it's been locked in, right? He's number one overall.
Well, I don't know that anything's ever locked in until it's all said and done, and we can speculate all day long, and we can come up with, scenarios where we can see other things happening. But that's my assumption for sure. And I had an opportunity to still have a pro day for him, but get the surgery done early so that he wasn't rehabbing right before training camp. He was preparing before training camp, and so he did, and everything went really smooth. And this dude, Pat, you would love this guy. He's just kind of like a ball player, and doesn't really care too much about all this other stuff. I think one of the biggest things about Trevor is I look to see him transition into the NFL is, a lot of these guys were big time recruits, and that's fine. But he was like the face of recruiting for like a year or two, which means like when you're in high school, every single thing you do, there's kids have camera phones out at 7-on-7 tournaments, just waiting for you to throw a pick. Yeah. And then he's the face of college football for 3 years. I actually think being the franchise quarterback in Jacksonville will feel smaller than being the face of college football for 3 years. So I actually think it'll be less of a deal. And he's handled the magnitude of being the face of college football really well. I'm excited to see how he handles this.
Now, he has the chance, and this is why he's going number one overall and why he was the face of college football and recruiting and of the 2021 draft. By the way, for the last 3 years, he's been the face of the 2021 draft. They're like, Trevor's going to go. If he won last year, everybody's like, he would have won one last year, that whole thing. But the reason why he has that is because there's a chance, it feels like, with this Jacksonville team, with the way Urban Meyer's operating and the way the Shad Khan is investing and they're rebuilding and they're doing this whole thing, and you get Trevor down there, there's a chance that he's going to become one of the faces of the NFL too pretty quickly. It's nice to hear, though, that with all that scrutiny, all the eyes on him, he's maintained an ability to remain normal. I have no idea how he would do that. That seems like a trait that should be one that is being talked about a lot whenever they talk about Trevor Lawrence, don't you think?
100%. When I evaluate, and I think we've talked about this, when I evaluate quarterbacks, I always look at two things first. I look at confidence and maturity. And I don't need to spend too much time talking about Trevor Lawrence's confidence in himself. When you step in as a true freshman and do what he did that first year at Clemson, that says all you need. That shows you everything you need to see about his confidence. But really his maturity is what I think sticks out the most. And it's how normal he's stayed through this whole crazy 3, 4, 5 year stretch. It's how normal he's stayed. His circle's the same. He's super kind to everybody. He's like as kind as you can be for still being a dog on the field, which you have to be. But really, I think it's the maturity. If you think about it, he really started the let us play movement for college football.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that the NFL was watching the NCAA to establish protocols and see how things were going to go. So he's actually a big reason we had football this year. Okay. And if you had to pick one player who didn't need to play this year and his draft stock wouldn't be affected, that'd be your guy you pick. Right. And then when George Floyd died, he really utilized his platform to speak to the social and racial injustice. And so here's a guy that could have just said, you know what, I'm just going to if we play, I'll play. If we don't, I'll collect my check in a year, sit back, see what happens, work on my short game. This dude wanted to play ball, and he wanted to use his platform for good. And so he's about as mature as I've seen at this age.
Hey, he's going to turn Jacksonville around, huh?
I think so. And I think Urban, I work with a lot of guys, but I'm evaluating all these spots. I actually think Jacksonville is one of the best landing spots I've seen in a while. In terms of what they're doing, the way that Urban is going to be cutting edge and think about building players, and the way he's going to use data analytics and sports science. I think they're going to build something really, really special there. Brian Schottenheimer, Darrell Bevel's the coordinator. They just have brought in some just really, really cool people. And this owner will spend, and Shad and Tony Khan, and they're very cutting edge and forward thinking. And to have a quarterback where you kind of know exactly what you're going to get day one is such an advantage when you're trying to build an organization.
Yeah, and Schlegel's down there as the director of sports performance as well. Anthony Schlegel, you know what I mean, linebacker, Ohio State legend of a man. I love hearing.
I played with Schlegel. I used to hunt with Schlegel. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got hired. He got hired down there.
I'll tell AJ Hawk right to his face that he's my favorite linebacker. Yeah. My favorite Ohio State linebacker.
I've done it already. Hey, join the club, dude. Schlegs is all of our favorites, man.
Schlegs is a great Instagram follow. You want to get motivated on 6 a.m. in the morning, you go pop on his story.
He's taking that to Jacksonville, which adds to your point. It feels like what they're building down there, if you bring a bunch of good into a building, now you have to have a direction and a mode, but normally people can figure it out. It's whenever you have turds that get brought in and they start getting patted and everything goes. But the situation you fall upon is the direct correspondent, I think, for your success ability early in the NFL. Now, obviously, we saw what happened with Joe Burrow. He almost lost his head. I think he broke all of his ribs. Maybe got a femur broken in a couple games. He got absolutely mangled, but he's playing great football. When Andrew Luck came to Indianapolis, our team was not like the greatest team roster-wise, but the building was a good building, so it felt like, the athletic trainers, the equipment, everything matters. I like that Urban Meyer's setting Trevor up for massive success there. Have you gotten a chance to kind of see any of the other rookie quarterbacks that are coming out this year, and do you expect the same amount of success as last year's rookie quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Last year we saw Joe play at a really, really high level. He didn't have great protection, but he had great weapons. We saw Herbert really just more impressive than the stats and the numbers to me was the way that it started for him, getting thrown in versus the Chiefs after Tyrod Taylor had his incident with the training room, and just so just stepped into that and was so mature. Unfortunately, what we're seeing happen is Justin Herbert's success is now making the narrative in Miami should they draft a quarterback, because he's not at the pace of this other guy. And I just think the whole football community world needs to just slow their roll and let these guys develop at the pace at which they'll develop. And so when I look at this year, I see Trevor coming in, I see him getting hot early. For Zach Wilson, if he goes to the Jets, that's a big gap from BYU with a pretty soft schedule to the Jets, where that's a roster that's in rebuilding phase. So I would not expect instant success from Zach Wilson. I expect him to become a great player, but my expectations are not going to be, well, he's the second pick, he should do what Justin Herbert did. Well, he doesn't have the same weapons, and he's got an entire new organization, new building. I think that will be a great pick, and that will be a great spot as Robert Saleh builds it. And then, if it is Mac Jones to San Francisco, I think that, he hit the lottery, getting a chance to play in that system with that defense. And that run and pass game coordinator in Kyle Shanahan, I think a lot of people could be a good fit right there. But if that is Mac Jones, which is what everyone's kind of talking about, then I would see him to have pretty quick success, because again, playing quarterback at Alabama and the pressure and the magnitude of that, especially when you're, because you're coming off of a championship probably, right, a year or two before, that's not that dissimilar from being a franchise quarterback in this league in terms of the pressure and what comes with that. And so I would expect, if that is Mac there or if it's Fields there, I would expect, quicker success based off of the roster, the people dialing up the plays, and then the program they were just coming from and the competition they played against.
Let's talk about the Mac Jones, Justin Fields thing there. And Mac Jones, the COVID year, I assume it's not going to be similar, but it's still Alabama. It's still SEC, so it's a national championship, still a national championship. The thought, though, of Justin Fields being the number 2 guy in this draft class for it feels like maybe as long as Trevor Lawrence has been locked in as the number 1 guy, it's like this guy is the guy or whatever amongst the quarterback circles. Then after the season, he starts to drop for whatever reason. Zach skyrockets. Mac comes out of nowhere, obviously, after the Heisman finalist year that he had, and he gets in there. I'm just now learning that Justin Fields took a test from Dr. Scott Goldman, and one of the tests is a recall. He scored the highest or whatever, allegedly. Now, the doctor won't give out any of the results. Who knows who gets the results? This is what Sanchez said, who I think lives near you, might be in the area there. Have you heard of this Goldman test? And is the fact that Justin Fields scored the highest in that one area, allegedly, is that not something we should talk about more, you think, especially for a quarterback position?
Yeah, when I had heard that, and we were going to talk about it, I reached out to Sanchez on my way over here, and he was explaining it and further. And essentially what it is the guys tested about 6,500 NFL players, and I don't know names and who or what, and it was really, really high. I think it was up there or higher than everybody else's. So I don't know that we need to look into that and make a big deal about it. I wouldn't, because I've spent enough time with Justin to know that like mental aptitude and learning an offense, what are we talking about here? I've been around this guy. This guy is as sharp as he needs to be. He's learned multiple systems in college. He's done everything that they've asked him to do throughout this process, and I've spent time in the classroom with him. I think part of it is, I always look at quarterbacks as 2 things. I look at it as intelligence and exposure, right? Intelligence is how smart is somebody. Exposure is, have they learned good things, right? You can be smart and have not been exposed to anything that's helpful. You cannot be smart and been exposed to really good football, right? So I think Justin is really, really smart, and maybe as much as anybody in this draft has been exposed to really good quarterback development from Ryan Day and that staff. They develop quarterbacks. They don't just say, hey, grip it and rip it, man, throw it wherever feels good. They tell them where to go with the ball. They tell them who to key. They tell them what the progression is. And so with Justin, I hear a lot of talk about him throwing to the first guy all the time. Yeah, that guy's open a lot. He's distributing the football. The only knock, and it's not a knock, the only thing that I think is a big emphasis for Justin early in his career is going to be that time clock in his head when he's in the pocket, not holding on to the ball too long. And Pat, that comes with reps. And it's not reps on the practice field with me. It's not reps in the gym. It's not reps in the film room. You got to play, and you got to work on that time clock. It's the time clock to when you catch that long snap and you get ready to punt it. Oh, yeah. It's different when we're doing it on air than in a game. That's the time clock. You got to work on that. And so with Justin, that'll be the biggest thing for him. I have zero concerns with him, his ability to throw, his ability to process things, nothing. I think he's going to be a star, and I think he's the second quarterback in this class.
Hey, by the way, okay. I think that too, but everybody else was telling me in us that we were stupid. He was the number 2 for a long time. Happy to hear that the quarterback guru himself feels the exact same way. In the timing thing for Justin Fields, a lot of quarterbacks have that. That is something they want to extend a play, make the most out of every single play. I think I've overheard Andrew Luck having conversations with people who are potentially telling him and asking him why he does it. He says he feels like that's how football is supposed to be played, where it's like no yard left behind, no play left behind. But in the NFL, health is better for everybody on your team if you don't get killed. A couple of those shots, I would assume if I was quarterback, would make me okay, I'm going to try not to get killed by that guy ever again. But
hey, Pat,
I respect
a little
the players.
deeper on that too. People in college football versus the NFL, it's a different approach to moving the chains. So in college football, they throw it most of the time, and when they run it, a lot of times they're big gashes. In the NFL, on first and second down, it's 2, 3, 4 yard gains on the ground, right? So most of the time in college football, when he's got to drop back in that pocket presence that we talk about, it's usually because it's third and long. because they kick it out early on first and second down, or they gash it. They get 15 yards a carry or rip 30-yard runs because it's college football. In the NFL, it's a lot of 2 and 3, 4-yard gains on first and second down. And so for him, I just think that he's either gotten rid of it quick or had to make something happen on 3rd and 14, which that's why he's holding on to the ball, because he runs a 4.4 and he's trying to make a play. I would too. So I don't think it's as much as it's a problem that can't be fixed. I just think it's a point of emphasis. He'll emphasize it. He'll get better at it. And if you want to talk about athletes in this draft, he's one of the best athletes on the board, not just the quarterback position.
Yeah, and he looks like he got a little bit more yoked up even and still ran a 4.4, because sometimes guys put on a little bit of weight because at that position you might take some bigger shots and then they get a little bit slower. He still runs a 4.4. Hand time. Now, I don't know if that's hand or laser. We don't know if it's hand or laser, okay, because the COVID pro day, everything like that. But very fast, incredible athlete. Can't wait to see it. And he's not the only one that potentially holds onto the ball too long or tries to make a play. Let's talk about another guy who potentially became a victim of circumstance in the NFL mightily, and he's only 23 years old, maybe the oldest 23-year-old in the history of the motherfucking NFL. This guy is the oldest of all time. You have obviously a relationship with him. We saw the celebration when he got traded. Sam Darnold gets a new home in Carolina. Joe Douglas just came out and said he hopes Sam does great. Like, he's not going to feel bad or people like, because he says we're not going to be able to turn this thing around quick enough for Sam. And it felt like Douglas knew, Sam probably knew there's going to have to be a fresh start. Let's figure this out. He's now in Carolina. How does this make you feel as a friend, I'd assume, of Sam Darnold and a confidant of Sam Darnold? Here's on your IG the day that it happened. How do you feel about this whole thing? You guys got to be pumped for him.
I'm jacked, man. I think he's been in one of the most difficult spots that we've seen a high pick be in of recently. And Baker Mayfield was in a really tough spot 3 years ago. Like 3 head coaches in 2 years, and then Josh Allen's rookie year, his number 1 receiver was Kelvin Benjamin, right? So he's not like
that's good
by himself here and being in a tough spot, but it never got better. And from a scheme and all that stuff. So whatever it happened, it's over, it's done. What I love about Carolina moving forward is you've got the wealthiest owner in the league. I just saw that in Forbes. He's like a lot wealthier than everybody else. I didn't realize that. Tepper?
Yeah. Hey, philanthropist too. He's giving back a lot of money. You know what I mean? He's a hedge fund guy. Hey, let me get all the money. Hey, let me get all the money. And then
we got a
philanthropy. Let me.
And think about this too. Tepper, from what I understand, is self-made. So for you to make that amount of money in one lifetime, not like 3 generations of family, you don't do that by slowly trying to make marginal gains.
No, you're going.
You do that by putting your foot on the gas and rolling. Like I feel like I'm watching a Pat McAfee wrestling show. Woo! Brother.
I appreciate that, brother.
Like, if he's going to bring that mentality to this, they're not going to wait around and hope to develop over the next 5. They're going to go. And I actually called a Baylor game for Fox a couple years ago, and did my interview with Matt Rule the day before. And this is a true story. I did my little media thing, and I was talking to my brother. It was the day before the Baylor, whoever they're playing, and I called my brother and I go, dude, I just met one of the raddest coaches, super humble. This guy's going to be a star. I literally called my brother after that meeting, and I didn't, other than preparing for that game, I didn't know who Matt Rule was. So watching him get that job last year, and him being blue collar, he wears the same clothes all the time. He doesn't care about any of this other stuff. He's just super blue collar. That's Sam Darnold. So I think that's a perfect fit. And then when you have Christian McCaffrey, we can talk about what Christian McCaffrey does in the run game and the pass game. But when you look at it through the lens of what he does for a quarterback, and similar to Sam Darnold, little brother / whatever, guy I work with, Kyle Allen is the same, and he was playing for Carolina 2 years ago. It's the same thing. What Christian McCaffrey does for a quarterback is 20 to 25 times a game, the quarterback doesn't have to make a play. Whether I'm dumping it to you, whether I'm flicking it to you, whether I'm handing it to you, that's 20 to 25 snaps a game where the quarterback doesn't have to make something happen. And I would argue that almost every single play that Sam had in New York, outside of a traditional handoff, he was in a position where he probably was going to end up needing to make a play.
Got it.
And so what that does to you as a player is you only got to make a play half the game, not the whole game. And with Joe Brady, one of the things that he did, offensive coordinator, because I worked with Joe Burrow, is people thought at LSU, Joe Burrow's senior year, that Joe Brady came from the Saints. He's probably running all this NFL stuff. No. They won with simplicity. They let Joe make decisions pre-snap at LSU and drop back and play. And that's exactly where Sam Darnold has had success. Adam Gase had, I think, a lot of things going on that's worked with other players, but what suits Sam is let him dial exactly in what exactly protection-wise what we need to do, and then let him play. And Joe Brady had a ton of success with Joe Burrow at LSU with that, and I'm predicting the exact same thing. The difference is he's got Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, and DJ Moore. DJ Moore is a much better receiver than the NFL community gives credit to, and I think he's going to be a rising star this year in the NFL. Fantasy football sleeper, DJ Moore.
Hey, look at you with a little fantasy talk there. We appreciate that. The fantasy community says thank you to that. The football community about DJ Moore thanks that fact as well. But the Sam Darnold rise could be awesome to watch as well. What you were saying is you said quarterbacks have had success like this in the past. The only quarterback that's had success with this guy is Peyton Manning. So you're saying Peyton Manning, Sam Darnold, different quarterbacks. Got it. Okay. Connor, what do you have?
Yeah, Jordan, since 2010, a lot of teams who have traded up to try and get a quarterback, the stats aren't too good supporting that decision. Do you think guys like Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, even Ian Book would do well in the NFL if they were picked, in the third round or after that? Or what do you think about that?
Well, I just think for those mid-round guys, if you're not really at the top of the first, it really comes down to development. And we're heading towards a world where there are no OTAs. And where there aren't as many there are no preseason games, or there's one preseason game. And so the opportunity to develop is getting thinner and thinner, which means that it's kind of less like we evaluate this middle of the pack quarterbacks, mid-round guys. We evaluate them on like arm strength and hand size and all that shit. When the reality is, it's like, no, how good are they at getting thrown into an awkward situation and handling it well? Because that's the only way that you can develop. So outside of the top 4 or 5 guys in this draft class, I actually have a guy that I work with this year, Shane Bichelle from SMU. I have him as the next guy because he's got a track record. He's got 44 starts, first off. So he's played a ton of football. He's been at 2 different schools. And so he's developed, and he's been thrown into some really tough situations. And he has a track record of balling. So for me, if you're not going to take somebody in the first round, I want somebody that I don't have to get a million reps to develop because I don't have a million reps to develop him. I've only got training camp and in-season practice, which that guy's not getting any reps. And you're talking about developing with Zoom and with people like me. It's like, no, I can't take somebody in the second round and expect him to develop. There's not enough reps like there was back in the day. And so if you're going to take a mid-round guy, you better take somebody who doesn't need a lot of development. They may not be as tall, as fast, as strong as the top 5 guys, but I need somebody who can handle horrible situations well, because that's how you're going to develop into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick who ends up being a starter.
The fascinating thing is the passion in which you speak of the development is probably what led you to create the Quarterback Summit, which is probably why it's having great success. So congrats to you all.
Yeah! Thank you.
It feels like you would rather not have to do it, but you put the cape on and said, listen, if somebody's got to teach these guys how to be pros and to become better quarterbacks, I will do it. We appreciate that. I got a tweet from @StampedeBlue, which is a Colts blog, and we talked about this guy yesterday with the Colts. Have you worked with Jacob Eason? And what, like in Indy, we've had Phillip Rivers. Now, obviously, we have Carson. But there's a community on the internet every single time a quarterback decision is made. Like, you're wrong, Jacob. You already got the guy, Jacob Eason. What is this guy going to be? You don't have to. Let's not go long because we're running up on a time here. But is that guy a dude, and what do you think about him?
I think he can be a dude. I was around him at a young age, high school when he was at Georgia. I haven't been around him recently, but I mean, you guys know, big, strong, talented, physical, big arm. But he's that 4th round pick, I believe. So he's really going to benefit if he get from reps. And that development has to happen in games. It's not how well you throw the out route versus air. And so they got to figure out a way. And I've read that they know this. Like they got to figure out a way to see what he can do when the bullets are flying. But if he doesn't pan out, it won't be for physical reasons. And if he does make it, then I know what he is physically. So if he's the rest of that too, mentally and emotionally, can handle all that, then yeah, they may have a really, really good option here moving forward.
That's cool. He could, if Carson gets hurt or something happens, it sounds like we potentially, because I think Frank Reich, also a good coach, I think he does do good quarterback stuff, which is why everybody loves coming to him. I appreciate you answering that. We have about a minute left until a hard out. So what I'm saying here is, if you're a serious listener and the conversation gets cut out, we do apologize, because we have a quarterback guru, and all we've talked about and been forced to talk about for 2 weeks is fucking quarterback play. We have a lot of things we'd like to figure out. Diggs, what is it?
Jordan, I just want to know if you were invited to Trevor Lawrence's wedding this weekend and what you get the future first overall pick for a wedding gift.
Smart. What do you get him?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You get him a Carson
I get him
Palmer.
a stand-up paddleboard, because that's about the best bet you got. He's going to probably live on the beach. I used to play in Jacksonville. He's going to need to get some stand-up paddleboard so he can cruise that intercontinental or intercoastal.
How nice is that, by the way? That it, like Jacksonville, Matt Overton, one of my former long snapper with the Indianapolis Colts, he got signed by the Jaguars or whatever. Who is that? Is that anybody cool? Was that anybody cool?
Is that Trevor?
Was that Trevor?
No, that's the herd up next.
Oh, wow. We apologize. It's top of the hour, though. It's top of the hour, though. They got like 4 minutes or whatever.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time in this entire thing. So I apologize. Last question. The Jacksonville, though, Matt Overton posted a photo. He was like running on the beach as soon as he got down there. I had no idea. It is literally right on a beach down there. It's a great place. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence does great. Hey, we appreciate you, Jordan. Have a good one, bub.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, man. Big fan. Love watching what you guys are doing.
Well, good luck on the next show. Probably better than this one if I had to guess. Ladies and gentlemen,
hey, let me know if we want to talk draft again. That was fun last year.
We are having the draft spectacular. You come back on, yeah?
I'll come back on. This time I'll dress up.
Yeah, maybe if you send that damn bobblehead.
We don't have the but the bobblehead too, by the way. Almost coming up on a year. It's funny you reminded that now, but the we don't know what the dress code's going to be yet.
True.
We think we don't know what the dress code's going to be. We will let you know, and we will send the address for the bobblehead. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Paul. Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we have a break that happened a minute ago. We will come back in about 4 minutes or so. I have to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking.
Oh yeah.
We're talking very, very, very bad. Jordan Palmer always knows a lot of good stuff.
Yes, that was awesome.
I feel like we learned a lot there. He has Justin Fields at number 2.
Me too.
He kind of said, BYU in New York, it's going to be a big jump. Kind of had a cupcake schedule. He said basically. That's probably how all quarterbacks feel, though. It's like you're going into a tough situation there. That's going to be a tough one for you.
What if he drops like Rodgers when everyone thought that Rodgers was going to go?
Listen, we overreact. That's what this show does. We have to. It's a daily show.
Yeah.
Okay? Everything I say, I believe and I feel.
Yeah.
I think this draft is going to be a good one. I think there's going to be action. And I think there is a chance we have one of those terrible moments, which is why if I was a guy that was potentially going to get drafted or potentially not going to get drafted, there is no chance in hell I would go to that draft. But I appreciate that others are. Mm-hmm. Can't wait for it. We are a few weeks away.
Pumped.
What's that poll sitting at right now? I'd assume, has it moved at all?
It has moved.
It has moved?
Whoa. Only that moved was Wrestlemania dropped 2%.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sunday at the Masters, 13%. Round 1 of the NFL draft is at
78%.
78%. WrestleMania's at 9%. So it has moved a little bit.
Yeah.
78% has remained, though, I think, right?
Turns out if you just pull like 10 people, the rest of the world is going to feel the same way.
That's what YouTube's telling us. But they could be wrong. This could be a fugazi.
True.
Could be getting bamboozled.
No.
We're back on the other side of this 4-minute break. We'll see you then. AJ Hawk and Mark Schlereth will join us. Woo. This should be a good one. We'll see you then. What's the most beer you did in one night you think of one of those shows?
Well, I never forget when we went to Japan one time. Dudley, Stacy Keebler. I mean, there were so many people out there. I think we went through 103 or 108. Now, between just for myself, I'd always make sure to have about a 12 or 18 pack there. And, here's the thing when some people say, oh, shit, man, you got too much of that beer on you. You don't even know how to drink beer. It's like, dude, fuck you. You don't know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to entertain 20,000 people in an arena. If I just go out there and sip it real properly, how fucking exciting is that? So when you're out there on an empty belly and you're shotgunning beers and all that shit's going in, the half that was going in was for me. The half that was going on was for them.
Nice.
But I'm telling you, Pat, when you shotgun a bunch of beers like that and you're drinking about half of each beer, you got a pretty damn good buzz when you come out. And that's a sacrifice I was willing to make.
I would assume you were pretty fucked up, yeah. When did you start
you know,
self-cheersing? When did you start self-cheersing? Was that something you did in college? You're like, hey, Steve, good for me, man. When did that start?
No, you know what? I got to give credit to Sandman for starting that, but he was bashing him off his head, and I don't remember, and it wasn't because Sandman was doing it, so I don't want to say I copied him, but he was the first. So, and then my style was, because people always get us confused. They'll say, yeah, man, you used to bang them on your head. No, motherfucker, I was the guy that clacked them together. It was just something we came up with. I don't know how the beers got introduced to the ring, but it became a thing, and we ran with it.
I actually would have made more money the day I signed than my whole contract with Indy.
Oh, dude. Why did you decide to turn down a lot of money to come back to Indianapolis for the year?
True story, no bull. I prayed about it. By 3 o'clock, I'm signing somewhere. And then 2:55, I got on the phone with Chris. Like, are we going to get this done? Like, how can we get this done? He came up with a number, and I'm like, all right, it's all right. I guess it's meant for me to go to this next team. As soon as I closed his message, Ursay texted me. I said, there go my sign right there. When he texted me, that's when we got it done. When he texted me, we got it done. Hey, did you see my eyes tweet yesterday?
Yeah, is that when you got the text from Ursay?
No, that was a text that I was almost gone.
Yeah, where are we going to go?
Hey.
Baltimore. You don't have to tell us, obviously, but I do believe Baltimore was in on something. Yeah. And then also the quarterback.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about. Yes,
speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to that show. That person's doing that thing for the video, by the way, just got confirmation.
Let's go.
That's going to be big.
Yeah.
Welcome back. That's big news. Yeah, there's big things coming. I'm making a rather large, life-altering, no, I'm joking. A rather large decision. We're doing something big here relatively soon, all right? In the next few weeks, something is going to be announced that the show will never stop. Okay, the show will continue to go on, but another chapter is about to get added to it. Will it be a trip back in time for some closure, potentially? Will it be a promotion on something that is potentially already happened? Potentially. Okay. Or will it be something brand new? Potentially. Yeah, we got big things popping off. I'm very excited about it. Joining us now to not talk about that, but talk about everything else going on in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. Yeah! AJ, how you doing, bub?
I'm doing great, guys. Jordan, I really enjoyed, actually. I watched your whole speaking deal with Jordan. He was great. He gave you a ton of good info.
He wasn't he? Yeah. You know, and there's been times where Jordan.
Why are you looking at me like that? What were you trying to? You're giving me the look like you're up to something.
Well, hey,
big Schlegel over here.
Schlegel. Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah. Hey, Schlegel's my favorite Ohio State linebacker ever too. He should be.
Well, I mean, let's not get crazy. When General Bob Carpenter was at the front, I think a lot of people potentially were like, you know what? This guy brought back Big Ten football.
I love that guy.
This guy brought back. Maybe we love General Bob Carpenter, but the fact that you three were together, I could not even fathom. I cannot wait to meet Schlegel in person. I assume he's electric, as is the person that's joining us right now. A very handsome man. He was an actor. He was a football player. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a commentator. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, the founder of Stinkin' Chili.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. Good stinking good. Great stinking what?
Yeah, stinking good chili. Hell yeah.
I love that it's chili. The fucking good best. It is the good chili.
We ate it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Schlereth. Yeah. Stinking good. God, I was so close. That's on me.
Look at this.
Oh, it's so good.
Hell yeah. Hey, don't just eat, win, baby. That's what it's all about right there.
Hey, I appreciate you joining us here today, and I also appreciate the chili you and your people have created. I believe you got a chance to try it, said let's do business. It's now global. We have it in the office. We love it. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's very kind of you.
I didn't get the name 100% right. I forgot what it was. It's Friday.
It's not about the name. It's about, filling your belly up, right? By the way, I saw your golf swing the other day, and all I could think about while you were piping one right down the middle of the fairway, all I could think about is I think I could put Pat in a 3-point stance, and I think we might have some success, dude. You look like a guard right now. I'm telling you, not like fat thick. I mean like good thick, like a good thick.
I do appreciate that. I have been trying to. I am a spark plug of a human. Okay, I always have been. So when I go through my stages, it is very obvious. I mean, it is gut, chin, everything like that. Right now, I am on the process of getting into the best shape of my life. I'm back in the game, but I appreciate the thickness, respectness out of you there, though.
Yeah, I would tell you this: if we put your lower half on my upper half, unbelievable.
We're the Rock.
We're the Rock. Oh my goodness, it would be unbelievable because my boobs are gigantic. Like my upper body is freaking phenomenal. With them sticks you got on the back end there, those things are. I mean, those are tree trunks right there. We would be the world's perfect human.
Well, that's the Rock, and I wish. What could have been, man? What could have been? It would have been. Maybe science will be able to figure it out. Let's assume Elon will. Let's move forward here with a conversation about the football. And I know AJ was pumped to be on alongside you here as well. Mark, football draft coming up. What's your big storyline? What are you thinking about? Are there any good offensive linemen coming out this year? Do you facet yourself with that or no?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's the Slater kid from Northwestern's really good. Obviously, Sewell from Oregon is a phenomenal player. Here's the thing about the draft that's funny to me is the New York Jets, right? Like they get rid of Sam Darnold, who they just drafted 3 years ago, and they're going to replace him with what apparently is Zach Wilson, right? And no disrespect to any of those guys. I'm sure they're great players. But here's the thing about the draft that fascinates me is that we act as though every guy that plays quarterback is going to come fix our franchise. Like if it didn't work with Sam Darnold, why do you think you could put him in that same situation or another quarterback in the same situation and have it work this time? To me, it's like when I bring home toys for my granddaughters, right? They love those toys, right? That I bring a toy through the door, man. They can't wait to play with it. They spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes playing with it. Oh, Popo, you're the best. This is great. But you know what? When it's time to go to bed, they're finding that binky, right? They're finding that security blanket. They're finding the good old things that actually work, right? Which is building a football team, having good football players. Like, to me, from the quarterback position, there are 4 or 5 guys. You have one on every week in Aaron Rodgers. There are 4 or 5 guys who are unicorns, who cover warts. The rest of the guys expose warts. When you were in Indianapolis, Pat, I used to say this all the time. I thought that was an 8-8 football team without Peyton Manning, and they win 12 games every year. And people in Indy would get so pissed at me. They'd be so pissed. And then, you know what happened? You guys lose Peyton Manning. You go 2-14. I was like, I way overestimated the talent level on that team.
That was a terrible year. That was a terrible year.
I think there's literally 4 quarterbacks that cover warts. The rest of the quarterbacks expose them. So you're selling this bill of good to your fan base that's absolute garbage. Hey, now we're going to fix it because now we got Zach Wilson. And then 3 years from now we're going to fix it because we'll take the next guy, that's hotter than wolf piss. It just doesn't work that way. Build a football team. Don't just draft quarterback after quarterback.
Hey, what about the other side of that trade? What about the Carolina Panthers? What do you think the message is to their fans going out and grabbing Sam Darnold? Do you think he can kind of find a way to revive his career?
Well, you hope that if you build a good team around the guy, you can take some pressure off the guy. They've got a really good receiving core out there. They still have issues, to me, blocking people up front. Obviously, if McCaffrey comes back, McCaffrey's a phenomenal player, as you guys well know. That defense, to me, is a little bit suspect. That 3-5-5 or whatever it is they're playing over there.
3-3-5.
At some points, at one point, I think that I counted 9 DBs on the field at one point. So, your guess is as good as mine on that one, AJ. But I think they're going to try to resurrect his career. I will say this: I like Matt Rule. I think Matt Rule's one of those young guys that really coaches his players, and I appreciate that about him. But obviously, there's a lot of work to do in Carolina.
It sounds like everybody likes Matt Rule, by the way. Me and AJ got to call a game he was coaching whenever he was at Baylor. We met him the night before. It was like, oh, this is just classic football guy. That's what this guy is. He's just classic football guy. Just talked to Jordan Palmer, who, I think he has a relationship with him or whatever. He said he went and told his brother, hey, that guy's rad. This guy's rad is what Jordan Palmer said about it. So I feel like in last year, everybody's like, they got the right guy in Matt Rule in Carolina. It feels like the narrative is he's going to be a damn good NFL coach. There's not a lot of those, too. You say 4 or 5 quarterbacks. There's not a lot of great NFL coaches either, Mark.
Right. Well, I think, I always say this about my own business and some of the ventures that I get into. You're either in the relationship business or you're going out of business. And ultimately, as a coach, man, you have to be in the relationship business with your players. And, you have to be authentic and they have to trust you. This is why I thought it was funny last year when Tom Brady, the first game of the season, throws 3 picks and Bruce Arians just eviscerates him, right, in public. And people are like, oh, that's not going to go over well. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no virgin meat on anybody's ass if you played for that guy. I mean, he's going to rip it all. And that's who he is. And he would lack authenticity if he didn't treat Tom Brady the same way he treats everybody else. And Tom Brady, by the way, what makes him great is he expects to be coached. He wants to be coached hard. So, authenticity is so important, building that relationship and asking your guys. I mean, you played for a guy who's probably as authentic as anybody I've ever met in Tony Dungy. It means something, right? That's important. And you don't all have to have the same personality, but there are personality traits that are important that last the test of time. And those guys, the guys that have that, I think get the most out of their players over the long run.
Hey, I know you get to go when you're traveling around doing games during the year. You go and you watch practice usually a day or two before the game. Do you notice anything different, like over the last 10, 15, 20 years? Do coaches coach different? Do they have a different approach, or is it pretty much similar as it was when you were playing?
I think, from practices that you see on Friday, I think they're pretty similar. I mean, there's not as much, obviously, there's not as much contact and there's not as much of that stuff that goes on. But the practices are similar. There's this fine kind of juxtaposition between doing your work and having fun. And, you see the teams that are having too much fun or almost just slappies, really not getting any work done. And then you see the teams that are having a good time, but the practices are sharp, they're crisp, and everybody is totally tuned in. And so those are the things that I see. I always think back to my own career and the teams I played on. Fridays we had a blast, but it was about doing the work. It was about getting the work done.
Hey, perfect.
And you could do it, and you can still have fun doing it. But you could tell that with the teams that are really dialed in and well coached.
Yeah, like those Fridays, Fast Friday, or the walkthroughs. Like, there's been some that I've been at where it was like perfection was demanded and commanded almost, and then there was a couple times where there was some shit happening. It was like we were looking around like, oh, this team's gonna stink. What the hell is this? Oh, we're gonna potentially. You know what I mean? There's a couple where you have to have a group that's locked in but still enjoying themselves, and I think that's a team-led thing that can happen. Although the coach has to be, all in on that thing. It's just building a team, a successful team, is incredibly difficult because all the different personalities and X factors and shit you can't account for. So whenever teams are able to do it, I'm always incredibly impressed. What do you have, Digz?
Mark, I think I may know your answer here, but the Bengals are sitting at 5, and say that there's Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, and Penny Sewell all there, and you had Joe Burrow killed last year. Do you automatically go the tackle there? Do you take a weapon? And they brought in Riley Reef this year. How hard is it to move a tackle who's been left tackle his entire career to right tackle, or do you put the rookie at right tackle?
Yeah, I think I would probably put the rookie at right tackle. In transition, I mean, I remember Jonathan Ogden starting off at guard before he moved to left tackle, and he became a Hall of Fame left tackle. So because they had Tony Jones at the time, one of my teammates, late great Tony Jones. So that to me is something that's easier to do with a rookie, but ultimately, it's the ultimate team game, and everybody is a dependent position. But I always say about, the wide receiver position in general, like 10 other guys have to do their jobs exceptionally well for you even to touch a football. So I don't understand why people have become so enamored and why that position has become such a diva position. I mean, the next time a team is one wide receiver away from winning a championship will be the first time in the history of the league that has ever happened. So I am, I'm all about taking care of your line of scrimmage. You show me, just go through the playoffs. The team that physically won the battles on the line of scrimmage won every game in the playoffs, bar none.
Okay, let's talk about one of those offensive lines. This is actually Connor's question. It seems like there's a young guy on that Super Bowl championship team that's a fucking monster.
Yeah, is Tristan Wirfs the next guy? Because he was throwing around 405 pounds like it was nothing yesterday on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that on his just cleans, right? Just hang cleans, 405. It was, I'm telling you, he was such a good player last year. And did such a phenomenal job coming in at the right tackle position and just being locked down the whole season long, which is incredible. And they did a great job. They've got inside. I love the scouting department. Jason Light's a friend of mine, but what he has done in their scouting department, think about this. They've got a Division III player. I think Ali Marpet is their Division III player from Hobart, then a Division II player from CSU Pueblo in their center, Ryan Jensen, and then their right guard is a Division II player. I mean, you want to talk about scouting, right? Going and leaving no stone unturned, and then you bring Wirfs in there, and they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal all season long. They're nasty. They play nasty. I really appreciate that aspect of the game. And, when you look at what they were able to do, especially in that Super Bowl on both sides of the ball, dominating the line of scrimmage, and I'll have to give credit, they were able to dominate the line of scrimmage as a defensive line, a lot of because of what guys like A.J. Hawk did at the linebacker position. You look at what Devin White and what Levante David did, and the way they got depth, the way they took away the intermediate and quick routes, and made Mahomes hold the ball. They were phenomenal in that realm.
Hey, whenever he was in between, when he was going to re-rack that, every time I've hang cleaned, and I've thrown some weight around on a hang clean, you always put that down. I normally put that down. Then he walked with 1 foot at one point, had that thing. He was here's the video, and we'll try to pause it at the moment. I knew, this guy is a fucking beast. He does it easily. He doesn't really drop that right. There, he's on 1 foot holding that thing. Man. It's just like, all right, this guy is a fucking beast, obviously. And he was a rookie. AQ Shipley was down there. He was like, hey, this guy might be the best offensive lineman to ever play when this thing's over. What do you have, AJ?
Dude, that makes me want to get on a cycle right there. Straight up, testosterone siponate and get huge.
You never know. Maybe you can give it a shot. But when you're looking at these O-linemen, I know I've heard people talk about how tough it is to evaluate them coming out of college. Do you see that? I know college offenses are starting to morph into the NFL game, but they are a lot of times, it's like basketball on grass, as people say. Can you evaluate them the same way you used to be able to?
I think it is more difficult. I mean, you definitely see a guy that has foot quickness, that has great sets and great technique. So you can see that. The problem that you get into is in a lot of college situations, the ball is out so quickly. There's a lot of times on the line of scrimmage you don't block anybody. It's all about release. It's about optioning a three technique. Like I watch that and I'm like, who in the hell options a three technique, right? I mean, I've never seen anything like this. So the college game is funny that way. Nobody's in a three-point stance oftentimes, so it's hard to see if a guy can really come off the ball. But on the outside, you can see things and skill sets that translate. Your ability to set, your ability to to stay low and strike guys. I think the biggest thing for me is how a dude strikes guys. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that are a lot of guys in college football that catch guys. And then do you strike in an upward fashion? Do you create this leverage from low to high plane? Because that's really the key to playing that position. And those things translate. You can see those things. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is.
Hey, you
Low
saw
to
it.
high, baby.
Hey, give me that sandbag. You know what I mean? Ooh. You know, I do the whole thing. What do you have, Gumpy?
Yeah, Mark, we've been talking about the possibility of Teddy Bridgewater to Denver the last couple days. Are you sold on Drew Lock, or do you think that would be a good fit in Denver?
I'm not sold on either.
Really?
So, again, like I think Teddy Bridgewater is a really great mentor. I think he's a good player. This comes down to the quarterback situation again, like we talked about when we started this thing out. Right? Here's Teddy Bridgewater, gets an opportunity to play in New Orleans a couple of years ago and goes 5-0 with his chances to start, right? And he parlays that into a $60 million contract. And then what happens? Well, you're on a team that isn't nearly as talented. When I look at New Orleans, I see a left tackle who's a Pro Bowl All-Pro, a right tackle who's All-Pro. I see a running back that's All-Pro. I see a wide receiver that's All-Pro. I see a tight end that's a Pro Bowl player. I see a guard that's All-Pro. Do you get what I'm saying here? Defensively, I see two defensive ends that are Pro Bowl players. I see a corner that's one of the best in the league. I see a guy.
Hey, are the Broncos? Are the Broncos one of those teams though that has enough talent to potentially turn? Because it feels like the team is being talked about as if the expectations are real, but there's a massive question mark at the quarterback still. There, everybody's saying.
I think there's a massive question mark as far as talent is concerned and depth is concerned. And so, listen, people get enamored because you find starters in the draft. Like we had 4 starters in this draft. Man, what a great draft. Is it really a great draft? Because you've got 4 guys that are starting. Listen, crappy teams, shitty teams still fill 22 starters. We don't go out there and say, hey, listen, we only have 7 guys that are worth a shit. So we're only going to start 7 guys in this game. So there are teams that have to play backups as starters. That's the way it works. And so when I look at them, you draft some starters in the last 3 or 4 years, but a lot of those starters should be backups. And so I would argue with anybody that sits there and says, well, they're really talented. They're just a quarterback away. No, they're not. In that division, with Kansas City and what the Chargers were able to do last year, if they get healthy, and I just don't think they're even close right now, whether it's Teddy Bridgewater or anybody else playing quarterback.
I love that you mentioned or failed to mention the Raiders in that conversation there, just because, old bruises die hard there. I like that you just go.
Well, you know that I hate the Raiders with a white hot intensity of 1,000 suns, and I hope they lose every game. So, and Gruden's a buddy of mine, but he knows how I feel.
Those starters, by the way, that you referred to, they're in Vegas and Miami in the offseason. No starters in the NFL. They're still getting the juice. Mark, where are you traveling to, bub? Seems like you're in an airport.
Yeah, I am in an airport. I'm heading to Arizona. As a matter of fact, I was driving to the airport. I called my daughter Avery and told her I'm heading to the airport. And her friend Dan was over, and he was really worried. He goes, well, aren't you on a show in like an hour? And I was like, no, I did my show this morning from Denver. He goes, no, you're on McAfee. Are you going to? And I'm like, hey, relax, Dan. Now, Dan, Dan's a little guy. Like, I could fold him up and put him on the back. And so I'm just like, relax, little fella. Papa Bear's going to find a place to sit down and do the show. It's going to be okay.
I appreciate that you've been yelling incredible things while people are probably into your phone and they can't hear the other side, obviously, just walking by you. There's this non-masked madman screaming over there with dude across his forehead for dude wipes. You're the best, dude. I appreciate you.
Hey, those are my dude wipes, man. You got to have a clean crack. Cracks a happy crack.
Exactly. All right.
Later.
Safe travels, man. We appreciate you so much. You're the best. Mark Schlereth, ladies. He's the best. I love him.
Oh, yeah.
Bro,
Chili's good, too.
He kills me, man. He legitimately does. Because he's old school meathead football guy.
Get back in the cycle.
Yeah, that makes me want to take a cycle right there.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, what are the people around him thinking? This guy's obviously he's speaking very loud. He's a giant human being, just right. Like, people can absolutely hear him. So that would be fun to watch that from afar.
With dude written across his forehead. I mean, it's just I appreciate him doing that. I want to let you know that Feel Good Friday here, okay? Many people are asking. Feel Good Friday is brought to you by the fine folks at CBD MD.
Oh, yeah.
CBD MD heard what we were doing on Fridays. Like, hey, we'd like a good Feel Good Friday going to the weekend in a beautiful fashion. You know, we like to celebrate the week that was. Woo! You know, there might be some bad shit going on, but Feel Good Friday is all about making yourself feel good.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, spiritually. You get it, everything, because you got a couple of days off here on the corner. Now, unless you're in the service industry, you're getting into your week, basically. We're going to let you know we appreciate you and go get that money. But everybody else, we got some downtime. We got the Masters all day, Wrestlemania at night. You're talking about Feel Good Friday is a good thing. And CBDMD said, excuse me, can we get involved with the Feel Good Friday thing?
Okay.
And we said, you got it. Now, they paid for this, obviously.
Of course.
But it's the perfect partner because what CBDMD does for your body, for your life, is make it much, much better, as if you're always in a feel-good mindset. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
The Masters is in full swing, pun intended. And for our good friends at CBDMD, that means cheering on Team CBDMD athletes. Bubba Watson with the fresh fours yesterday and the CBDMD visor. Patty Reed, and as they attempt to win another green jacket this weekend. And for everyone who's inspired to play a few holes after watching Bubba tear up that course, CBDMD has the perfect product to help you stay loose and play your best.
Yeah.
CBD Freeze with menthol is an award-winning product that offers temporary instant cooling relief for sore muscles and joints in a convenient and easy-to-use roller that keeps your hands clean while you're on the course. And to make it even easier to try everything CBDMD has to offer, including bath salts, gummies.
What?
You're talking about a sleep tincture and sleep capsule that puts you out like a light in 30 minutes called CBD PM. They have a litany of greatness for your body. They're offering 25% off your next order when you use promo code McAfee at checkout. Once again, that's cbdmd.com. Promo code MCAFEE. You get 25% off your purchase of superior CBD products from CBDMD. Shout out to CBDMD. Get involved with Feel Good Friday and everything else they've done for all of us. We have to get to a break. We'll be back on the other side answering some phone calls, wrapping up this beautiful week that was absolutely next to nothing in the sport that we cover, but a lot of other shit going on. This is Pat McAfee Show, Feel Good Friday, April 9th. We'll see you in 4 minutes.
Lakers, welcome to the Blender, the home of a team and a fan base on a playoff push the likes the world has never seen before. Crescent City, get on your feet for tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Sprite, an incredibly refreshing drink. Starting at forward was the number 2 overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft. Now he's an NBA All-Star, Brandon Ingram. At forward, this man has been dunking on little white kids on the internet for 10 years. The incomparable, unstoppable 6'6" phenom, Zion Williamson. At center, standing at 8 feet tall, from Georgia Tech, number 22, Derek Favors. This man's family had a reality show in Lithuania. He was born and raised in LA, but he found his J in Vienna. Lonzo Ball. And the OG of the roster. On the court, he's a monster. Braids hanging, shots banging. It's not Drew, it's Drew Holiday. Let's get this done. Thank you very much. Go Pelicans. basketball. This will be a 5-bowler from the Red Panda. Up we go. Yes! 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 Red Panda! What a legendary moment.
You're a legend. It's an honor.
Right, so mission accomplished, right? Come down, intro some players, throw some bowls to Red Panda, fly back to Indianapolis.
Air conditioners, coffee makers, and cigarettes all have filters. But Pat McAfee does not. You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show.
Welcome back to that show. The Masters are still on the TV in the studio here. Seems like an old that I do know and I have seen before just hit a great shot. Pin seeking.
wow.
Oh my God. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Just gave a wave. You deserve that. And on youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. If you're watching on YouTube and you're a subscriber, there is a chance that about 12 videos just popped up in your sub feed from us. That is 100% on us.
Yes.
I believe a button was pushed in the tubes department that potentially relaunched some videos that we had before trying to figure something out.
It wasn't a hack.
They were wired in, they were coded. It was not a hack, which
not a hack.
Zito did potentially have his ears up for.
Command
early
stop
this year.
hack. Command stop hack.
As soon as we got to a commercial break, I was briefed by 4 people about what was potentially happening. And I want to let you know, we apologize for doing that. That was done on purpose. Welcome back to the show. AJ, Mark Schlereth, I feel like, is you maybe 20, 30 years from now.
Yep. I mean, I would love to be Mark Schlereth 20, 30 years from now. I think the dude is awesome. Like, he's a big personality, has great gigs. He's been working in the media since he left playing, right?
Ever.
I can't imagine. I don't know why he never coached. Doesn't he seem like a guy that would love to just be there and be part of it?
Well, it feels like he's one of us, though, in the fact that we understand that coaching is, I mean, that is a lot of, hey, who's got the time, Age? Who's got to golf? Who's got time to golf? And who's got the time to coach? You put everything else on the back burner whenever you coach. Now, when you play, same thing. But coaching, there's guys that coach for 25, 30 years. And all that tells me is like, oh, these guys have worked their asses into the dirt for 30 years. That is what it takes, a special person. And that's why when he said there's only 4 to 5 quarterbacks that can really cover warts or whatever, and I said there's only 4 to 5 coaches too. A lot of guys work their asses off and coach for, and watch 15 hours of film every day and all that. But there's only a couple guys that really, can take the team to the promised land, and it's interesting how you have to get up there.
Well, I thought it was interesting, listening to him talk about quarterback play. Yeah, there's only 4 or 5 that can cover up warts, and I started thinking like, yeah, that makes sense. I guess when you put it that way, it really does make sense. There's a lot of, I don't want to call them average. There's no real average NFL quarterbacks. They're still the best in the world at what they do, but compared to those 4 or 5 elite ones, yeah, there's a big gap.
Yeah, and the reality of this whole thing is there's going to be a lot of buffs in this draft.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of people drafted in this particular draft that will not be good in the NFL. Mm-hmm. That is just how. Now, granted, hey, listen, I hope every draft pick this year has a Hall of Fame career, makes $1 billion. I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's unlikely. Stats have shown it's very unlikely. I hope they all play great football. There is a very, very, very large chance, though, that a large portion of these people that are about to be drafted in the NFL are going to fail. They are going to stink. They are not going to be able to make the transition because it's the men's league and there's only so many jobs and people have been there for 10, 11 years holding up some spots. I mean, there's a reason that it is very difficult to make it there. failure. With that being said, there'll be some that'll be great too. I'm excited for that. But there's a lot that are going to fail. And that's not, they all going to, they all want to succeed. Hopefully they all will succeed. Darius Leonard came out the other day. I don't know if you saw his tweet. And he said, hey, these guys that are about to get drafted talking too much.
Yeah.
Hey, there's too much talking right now. That's because I think Darius Leonard understands, like, when you're in an NFL locker room, the amount of people you see come in and go out is just, and these dudes, by the way, that come in, great athletes, you've heard about them, have made great plays in college, and just for whatever reason, they can't make it in the NFL. That's going to happen. And I think as we continue to go into this world where social media is bigger, which we love, by the way, I'm all about, there's going to be a lot more stories of like, oh, we thought you were, and then no. So there's also, that side of this whole thing that could happen on the backside of this.
Have I not been paying attention enough to these potential draft picks? Like, are they talking too much?
I don't know. I talk too much. So I literally, I try to stay, I try to avoid. I don't know, but I feel
different
like,
time. You say it all the time, though. It's a different time. Like it's
different.
You can't sit there and judge what, like, from generation to generation, what the norm is, or what you think. Oh, I would have never been caught doing that. Well, yeah, you may have. If you grew up when they did.
Yeah, if TikTok was around, okay, when I was a teenager, let me tell you what. That TikTok would have been a full go.
Had that drip.
I would have been Dago Sweeney on that TikTok. Okay, I would have been doing that whole thing. As a 33-year-old me, that is not for me. No. So for me to act like, I would never in a million years do a TikTok is an outright lie. That is an outright lie. But you're right. There is a much different time in which you cannot judge from how you experience something in a different time with how it's currently happening. But Darius Leonard is coming from that younger generation. So I wonder who he heard, how he heard. But I appreciate the fact that he was like, too many experts that have not done anything right now, it feels like.
Well, when we talk about the first round, but how many guys from rounds 2 to 7 are going to get drafted that are going to be studs? Like Darius Leonard, second-round pick, and he was a captain all-pro within his first 2 years, but we didn't know about him going into the draft.
Was he second or third round?
I thought he was second. Yeah.
Whatever the case, he was called the worst draft pick or whatever by
Bleacher Report.
Worst draft pick ever he was called. And for everyone, Darius Leonard, that happens, by the way. I think there's probably 31 other ones in that particular round that potentially don't make it. It's hard to make it. It is fucking very difficult to make it in the NFL. That's winning a game. You hear coaches say it, and I think fans think the coaches are just giving themselves an out when they say it. But when they say it's very hard to win a game in the NFL, very, very hard. There are so many things that have to click. And now that we're in the 17-game season, we've gotten a chance to check out the 16-game era. And there is, I forget who it was, but somebody crafted a list of everybody's Gridiron. Shout out Gridiron for this. They crafted everybody's win percentage through the 16-game era, which started in 1978 and obviously has just ended. Now we are in the 17-game era. Congrats, Adam Vinatieri, by the way, being the all-time leading scorer in the 16-game era. In the history of the NFL, that will never get taken away from you. Don't even worry about anybody chasing you. They got more games. They got more opportunities. Yep. Don't worry about it. But the Lions were the worst. Steelers were the best. It's hard to win, and these stats say it. Everybody's about 500 on this thing.
And that was without the early 70s when the Steelers were winning Super Bowls, too. So, it would have been even better.
Yeah, but what we're saying is it's hard to win, though, AJ. It's very difficult to win.
Yeah, it's really hard to win. But for those teams that are consistently up there, consistently like fighting and making the playoffs, winning, they don't care about winning. Do they care about their record? It's like March Madness. We don't care about what you did during the regular season. Did you go and make a run in the tournament? Like, did you make a run and get some rings, or at least challenge for rings? That's the biggest thing. That I think there's some teams that, they're happy if we could squeak into the playoffs, but they know they probably aren't going to win it. But when you can consistently challenge for the Super Bowl, that's what's more impressive to me.
Well, and to Mark Schlereth's point, I think there's only a couple dudes that can win it each year, too. Not teams, but dudes that can potentially go get it at that quarterback position. I think we all know that. And I think that feeling of we're winning the Super Bowl or we're not doing anything or we're a failure, hey, if you ain't first, you're last mentality, I think that only comes whenever teams win. Bill Belichick has been quoted so much about how the games before Thanksgiving do not matter. Like, hey, I do not care. And I think he genuinely feels that way. It's like, hey, what we just did there, that might as well have just been another practice. Like, we just practiced against another team on TV. Like, it does not, we win, cool. There's going to be maybe we'll take some of this forward. We lose. whatever. Let's learn from it. I genuinely believe that you have to have a very winning culture to get there. And I think to get there, you have to win a lot. So I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's hard just to come in and be like the Detroit Lions, like MCDC being like, yeah, we make the playoffs. It's fucking terrible. It's like, okay, all right, the MCDC. Wow. Listen, there's a chance you guys can make that 0-17 run too, just like you had an 0-16 run. What were you going to say there?
Well, you guys have talked before about it during the 16-game season. If you think about it in 4 quarters, where it's like, hey, the first quarter you're trying to figure it out. It's those, last 8 games really that are going to make or break you. And just like Belichick, Thanksgiving after, those last 6 games are way bigger than the first 6 games.
Yeah, and some teams peak too early, AJ.
Yeah, they do. And if you're like a Belichick team or you're, a team that has consistent success, just that first half of the season, don't ruin it for yourself. Don't play yourself out of contention. Just find a way to stay healthy, win as many games as you can, and not make too big of a deal whether you win or lose.
Yeah, it's like the Kentucky Derby when one of them closing sprinting horses, Hey, don't be such a terrible horse early that you can't use your gift, which is closing at the end. You got to at least be within reach to go get what you need to do. So you got to win some games. You can lose some games. Who cares? But you got to be able to be within reach for a puncher's chance to get in there. Let's get some phone calls, shall we? Let's go to Tommy in Green Bay, Wisconsin. What's going on, Tommy?
Hey, Pat and the boys. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Tommy, thanks for calling in on this Feel Good Friday. Shout out CBDMD.
Hey, I was just wondering, so with the Packers losing... Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out.
No, Tommy, you're good. You're good. I was just examining the situation we were currently in. But, Tommy, what do you want to talk about, pal?
So with the Packers losing Jamal Williams and Tim Boyle to the Detroit Lions, will we finally get to know what Scary Ninja means?
Yeah, somebody's going to have to leak that. Great question, Tommy. Somebody else. I don't think Aaron's going to give that to us, huh?
Doesn't sound like he or anyone else is willing to give that up.
That's like Omaha, when Omaha got big, when Peyton was only using it. He used to use Apple a lot, then it moved to Omaha, okay? And I believe the whole world was wondering what it was. That secret was kept within that Broncos. Unbelievable. Scary Ninja, especially with the COVID protocol, and anytime you hear it, it's hard not to be like, oh, there it is again. Whoa. There it is again. And then something good seems to happen. It's like Scary Ninja means something. They're keeping that under a lock and key. But now the players are leaving. Maybe we will have a little bit of a rat. Maybe that has gotten out of the nest.
Oh, well, Jared Goff used
or it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, so he told you?
No, I mean, it could easily be a dummy call, too. He definitely told us on the show they have dummy calls.
Yeah, and every quarterback has dummy calls. Mm-hmm. Actually, one of Peyton's dummy calls for a little bit was Bozo for Klon. Because a Klon's a dummy.
Yeah.
Just like John Wayne Gacy.
Checks out.
I was finishing that up last night, by the way.
Ties guy. Oh, how was it?
Bro, it gets worse, dude.
Oh, really? Wait, there's a doc on him?
John Wayne Gacy? Yeah, it's on Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Get premium.
Hey, it's his clown face. I think it's Devil. I don't know the name. Devil in Disguise, maybe?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Is that it's good, though. I did not know this guy existed. They did not teach us about John Wayne Gacy in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they did. I was aware of John Wayne Gacy. Did he dress
He's a Midwest killer, dude.
Yeah.
He's Iowa, Chicago.
He's the pride of Iowa, AJ.
Well, the majority of serial killers come from the Midwest, if you check it out.
What's that all about? What you guys got going on over here? Is it because you guys drive two-footed out here?
Out here, I mean, you're part of that, man. I don't know, not enough sunlight. Does that do it?
Yeah. It is probably the 6 months of hibernation there the sun goes into.
Probably all the woods.
Yeah, a lot of places to hide and do weird things as a kid in the woods.
Too much thinking.
Hey, that Dahmer shit in the woods was very weird. Somebody should have known that very young that he was going to be a problem. I'm happy we're potentially at a place where we can maybe spot these types of things out, but they're still going to exist.
That's why social media is awesome. Take a picture of some guy doing some crazy shit like, hey, everybody look out for this dude.
Keep your eye on this kid.
Yeah,
now,
this is the one.
It is the internet. We're going to forget this guy exists in about 24 hours, maybe 32 hours. But if you see this guy, keep an eye out.
Take a picture of him, post it, and make sure everybody sees him.
Let's go to Juan in Illinois. What's going on, Juan?
And the boys, how are we doing on this Feel Good Friday?
God, it's great to have you right here. A little bit of energy. Shout out CBDMD on Feel Good Friday. What do you want to talk about?
I'd like to say shout out to AJ, OH.
Shout out IO, buddy.
That's right. Woo!
All right, shut up, Juan. Shut up. Juan, shut up. Shut up for a second, Juan. What's that all about?
Yeah, what's going on?
Stop texting me too.
He finally said it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, thanks, Juan.
Doesn't count.
This is last night. You go IO to somebody. All right, on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that. If that was you, do you know how to run your account? Can your fingers access Twitter? Is that you tweeting the IO last night?
Error.
Well, if I do have a team that I am paying, I should fire them because I'm not very active on there.
Yeah, but the past couple of days you've been good on there, by the way.
Yeah.
We appreciate the fact that you've been
eyes tweet.
You've been active. He's been working. You've been very active on there. We do appreciate that. But you did an IO last night. Now for Juan, you're doing an IO. Is this because you feel terrible about what you did to the Ohio State Buckeye basketball team this March Madness?
No, we're already looking to next year. Next year's going to be a great year for us at Ohio State Hoops. But I told you all along, I've been very transparent. If anyone else says it to me, I happily reply.
You don't know Juan?
I know I don't, but he sounded genuine. You don't sound genuine.
All right, Juan, back to you. What do you want to talk about? That's bullshit. I want to let you know what you just did there. And on Twitter.
Did you see that dwarf Adam Cole get his ass kicked last night? You were absolutely right, Pat. He's a scumbag, and he absolutely got what he deserved.
Juan, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, Juan, sorry I told you to shut your mouth earlier. There was something we had to. Shush your mouth. Sorry we had to do that. Had to get something handled within the show there, Juan. But I knew Juan was going to bring it at the end. Yeah. I felt the energy early. Juan is a great caller right there. I appreciate Juan because what he said about Adam Cole getting his, he got his neck, maybe head broken last night.
He did.
That's good news, AJ. Aren't you pumped about that?
Yeah, like I've said before, it seemed like a very nice guy, but yeah, he deserves to get punched.
AJ,
this fucking guy.
Why are you such a prick, dude?
What? He was very nice. I spoke to him.
He was not. He was rude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. He seemed like a very nice guy. I still wanted him to get beat and bloodied and battered, but I still felt like he was a great guy. The rest of the crew was as well.
No. They're
What are you
talking about? It's just like on Twitter. You're just putting out bullshit. IO and all over the place.
I'm not going to lie about him. I don't want to lie about the people.
All right, let's go to John in New Mexico. I can't. By the way, this show, people listen and watch, so let's not just spread bullshit all the time. Okay, false narratives. We don't need that.
Nice
all right.
guy,
John Wayne
dude.
Gacy was doing
False
that with
narratives.
the newspaper.
He's Iowa in this situation.
Yeah. What do you want to
John
talk
Wayne
about?
Hawk.
Yeah, exactly. Man of the year. What do you want to talk about?
All of you are trying.
Oh, AJ Wayne. John in New Mexico, you're going to have to wait a second. Hey, AJ Wayne Gacy, listen. All right, enough with the falsifying and narrative spinning and everything like that, okay? He said.
Take it easy, 2 foot.
He said. Now listen, at this point, if you have not watched it, it's not on us. This is not a spoiler.
Not a spoiler.
There happened to be potentially humans found literally buried in his house.
Yeah.
He's saying, could have been anybody.
Is that right?
Could be anybody.
Left my doors unlocked.
That's what he was saying. Could have been anybody.
Well, he originally blamed it on like the water flow, the dirt flow from like.
Yeah, like it was rolling in it. I mean, it is. You do not want to be associated with AJ Wayne Gacy, okay? No. And what I'm saying is, every time you lie and say these things that are obvious falsehoods, it kind of gets closer and closer to that, especially out here in the Midwest.
Okay, I'll watch my mouth from now on then, Pat. Sorry.
It's about time.
Adam Cole, scumbag.
Yeah.
That's not my truth, but yes.
My truth.
I heard Demi Lovato say that on Rogan multiple times. Her truth or my truth.
AJ, you're the fucking best. John, what do you want to talk about, man?
Hey, Pat, boys, what's up? AJ, happy Feel Good Friday. I was calling to talk about how I had faith in Drew Lock and the Broncos, but Schlereth kind of shit all over that. So
He did. Does that change anything? Does that change anything?
No, I still have faith. I have faith in Drew Lock, I think.
Oh, it changed you?
No, Schlereth did not have
a little
faith.
bit. Yeah, it made me worry.
Thank you, John in New Mexico. We appreciate you. I think so too, right? I think because we got to no more phones, Mitt, because we're gonna have to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Calm down,
Mitt, come on, man.
We're gonna try to answer all the phones. It's Feel Good Friday, but Mark Schlereth saying he has that did change how I think too, because he's a Broncos follower very closely. He's like one of the voices. Now, is he a heel in Denver? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but it did make me second guess it. But I've seen some great football out of Drew Lock, I think.
I mean, yeah, I have too. You don't know. This is a huge, huge year for him, and we don't even know if he's going to get a shot. Like they may jump out and grab a QB somewhere.
Let's go to Morty in New York City. What's going on, Morty?
Hey, what's up, Pat, boys? Happy Feel Good Friday.
Hey, shout out CBDMD. Happy Feel Good Friday to you as well. What do you want to talk about?
Before I get into what I want to talk about, I want to say thank you to you guys because I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis earlier this year. I was in the hospital. I was out
I get infusions every month, and your show just makes those infusions fly, brother, fly.
Hey, we appreciate you. We're sorry you had to go through that, but thanks for rocking alongside of us. We're a big anti-colitis show, especially with a tie situation here, which goes back to Adam Cole is a scumbag.
Yes.
He pushed a guy with colitis, obviously. So thanks for calling in, Morty. We appreciate that. Oh, you forgot about that.
Yeah, AJ loves this
AJ
guy.
forgot about that.
Your buddy,
Yeah,
AJ.
that's your guy.
Way to go.
He's so nice, right?
Did he push Ty?
Yeah.
What planet are you on?
In studio. What the hell's
wrong
in
with
studio?
you?
I got it. I get it all mixed up because everyone seems to ruffle with Ty. Like Drew Brees, I know what elbowed him in the face. Like all kind of people.
Yeah. I did not see the Drew Brees one. I saw the Adam Cole one clear as day.
Terrible.
Morty, what do you want to talk about?
Gumpy, I love the shirt. I wanted to talk about what John talked about, so I'm going to shift to Brandon McManus. Why is he not put in one of the best kickers today conversation?
Okay, I don't know. That's a great question. He's already won a Super Bowl. He's got a massive leg. I'm not 100% sure. It might be because Denver has fallen kind of out of the national relevance strictly because Patrick Mahomes has come into the division alongside the Kansas City Chiefs. McMahon is an absolute stud. I love that dude. Now, with what you said first, Gumpy's fit today is all time.
It's good fit.
Fire.
Thank you, guys.
It's a fire fit today.
Thank you.
What happened? Fire fit Friday?
I mean, it's 80 degrees out today, so it's a little.
Just got to
but
start.
still
It's
great.
going to start to bring the fashion up a little bit. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
New place, things are picking up. Things might be up to something.
Are you up to something?
Never know.
I like that. His outfit is incredible. Hey, by the way, AJ.
No.
AJ.
AJ, listen.
AJ, can you see me?
AJ, can you hear?
AJ, hey, why do you wear those glasses every day too?
Well, it depends on how high I am. But hey, can you hear me?
Listen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
I'm up to something. Up to something, dude. Hey, there's something big coming, AJ. Hey. It's big.
You want me to try to guess?
No, we're gonna do that on the internet. I think. I think we're gonna give away. So next week, I think the decision doesn't go into effect next week, but the announcement will be next week of what it is. So the event itself is potentially, I mean, I guess I could just make everything potentially not next week, but the announcement potentially is going to happen next week. So I think next week we're going to potentially put out some clues, try to do a thing, probably give away, I think $5,000 is what Foxy decided. Whoever has like the best guess for what it could be, but it's pretty cool. Hey, it's pretty big.
It doesn't start this Sunday or Saturday at WrestleMania?
Whoa. It's got a Nick in Tampa. Nick, it could be. Hey, maybe it is.
I'll be glued to the TV.
Well, you can be on your phone too because the Peacock Network will stream to any smart device.
That's right.
What would you like to talk to, Nick?
Smart.
Big Daddy Pat and the boys, how are we?
Hey, where you at, Nick? Where are you right now?
I'm actually passing Raymond James, home of fucking WrestleMania. How about yourself?
Oh, buddy's down there in Tampa Bay. How's the weather down there, man?
Oh, it's fucking beauty. It's fucking sunny, 85, going to dog park. You know how we're doing.
Oh, how's it supposed to be this weekend for AJ,
No, of course.
Okay, it's good. Okay, it's going to be good. What do you want to talk about, Nick? He said it's going to be good.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay, go ahead.
All righty. So, what was more stressful? Punching the ball into the goddamn stratosphere
Not every time.
or
Sometimes.
holding for the greatest kicker of all time?
Nick, great question. I shit my pants because I lied to Bill Polian during the draft process. He asked me if I'd ever held before because I kicked field goals in college and punted in college. And holding is obviously a massive part of the NFL for a punter's job. And I said, absolutely. I practice every day. I knew that could be something that could come up. I had never done it one fucking time in my life. I get drafted. Adam Vinatieri calls me, congratulates me, asks me if I've ever held before. I said, you see what had happened was I told Bill Polian I've never done it before. He flew me down to North Carolina to learn from the holder that was in New England, Ken Walter. He was the holder in New England for him for all the big moments, basically. I went to a holding boot camp and then proceeded from that moment forward for Adam Vinatieri to throw me at least 100 to 200 balls a day, training camp, make that 400, 500 balls a day with me working. thing. First game, I was scared to death to fuck up a hold because if you're holding for Adam Vinatieri and there's a miss, guess whose fault it probably is? It's probably the young rookie holder in there. And I had never really done the NFL standard punt in a game before. Didn't even have that in my mind. I was worried about fucking up for Vinatieri. For sure. No questions asked. Absolutely.
I would imagine that's something that didn't go away either. Maybe it got a little easier over your time, but big kicks, big moments, did you let it creep into your mind? Like, okay, it all starts with me.
No, I got pretty filthy at it. I mean, the amount, I got really, really good. I had one fuck up, I think, in like 8 years. So I felt really, I'd hit that jugs machine so much, though. Like, I was on the jugs, and there's balls being thrown at me so much because, and Matt Overton, great long snapper, he helped with the laces a large majority of the time, but I felt real good. I felt real good back there. So much so that I started doing hard counts. I mean, I got real comfortable, but it was because Vinatieri wore me the fuck out about it. I mean, it was, hey, kid, you're not, just because you're a liar, you're not going to ruin my career. So I apologize. I know I fucked up. I apologize for that. Last minute here before Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mad Dog Unleashed come on. Do you have any thoughts for the SiriusXM listeners?
You guys were talking about the draft with Jordan Palmer, and it got me excited. Like, there is a lot of potential activity that could happen. I think it's going to be an exciting draft.
By the way, I enjoyed this Jordan Palmer conversation, I think more so than any other conversation we've had with him. Yep. He was very, very good, informative, felt like he had deeper thoughts on deeper thoughts about things, really opened my eyes. Shout out to him for joining us. Paul Heyman, obviously, Mark Schlereth, and all of you that take time out of your life to listen to this show. I cannot believe it, and we are very, very thankful. Have a great WrestleMania and Masters weekend. Chris Mad Dog Russo with Mad Dog Unleashed will be on the other side of this 6-minute break. We'll be back Monday with more shitty radio. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. Feel Good Friday, April 9th. Cheers. Okay, let's get a couple of these phone calls here and wrap this thing. Andrew, what's going on, bub?
Hey, what's going on, boys? Feel Good Friday.
Hey, Feel Good Friday. Shout out CBDMD. This is Andrew in Maryland. Now, CBDMD has come in very large. Okay? So I want to, they have a great product, and they are a great company. And they are very much partnered with what we have going on. They have made some plays for us, so I appreciate that. So every time somebody says Feel Good Friday, I'm not saying this is required, but I will, at least for the next, at least a little bit here. I'm going to say, shout out CBD.
Shout out CBD.
Thank you, CBD. Andrew in Maryland, what do you want to talk about, pal?
All right, so I got a little dilemma for you here, right? Mm-hmm. So I got a game tonight. It's my senior year. I'm playing against all the boys I've been playing with since I was, like 5-6 years old.
Okay.
Problem is, I dislocated a couple of fingers in practice yesterday, so I'm kind of screwed up right now. So what's your advice for playing through injury?
Is this the sport of the future?
This is the football.
The sport of the present. Okay. I thought you were talking about lacrosse, potentially. You guys play spring football in Maryland?
Spring football, yes, sir.
Is this high school?
It's high school.
Hey, let's go. Yeah. It's a big night tonight.
Let's go.
Dislocated finger. Who gives a fuck? You're going to remember this night for the rest of your life. Now, obviously, don't do anything that you'll potentially affect your future happiness or whatever. You got to do what you got to do. But who gives a fuck about a dislocated finger here tonight, Andrew? This is your last time to share the field with people from your area, people that you've grown up with, people that you've had a chance to see grow. You might never talk to some of these people ever again. 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you might never chat again. The only thing you'll ever have in common is the memory of this last game. So why don't you go out there, not worry about the goddamn finger, lay it all on the line, so when you're doing the, hey, you remember when's at weddings, hate to break it, this happens there, funerals, any birthday parties, any gatherings, the remember when thing, you playing with the dislocated finger, I think will be a part of it, but let's fucking win, too. Let's win.
Woo! Thank you, baby. Have a great day.
Hey, you too, Andrew. Didn't sound like he's going to go fucking tear it up. But I hope he does.
Sitting on
His
the
voice
bench.
sounds very old, too.
Yeah.
Is he a coach?
And he's out of class. They're sitting in the locker room right now.
Spring football,
does Maryland do crab cakes in football if you do spring football?
Why? Maybe they moved because they do crab cakes in football and they wanted it to be a non-COVID season.
Maybe.
AJ, why didn't you show him your fingers and say it doesn't matter, dude?
Dislocated fingers, dude? What are we even talking about? That's going to happen.
Tape those things up, dude.
You can't call anything to do with your fingers like an injury. That's not true. That's not the facts. You could buddy tape whatever you have. And my question with him, though, he's a senior. This guy's a senior playing high school spring football. So did he play in the fall, and then all of a sudden he's going to play spring ball and then graduate a month later? How's that work?
We're assuming they moved the season. We might be wrong, but I'm assuming they
California did that. California played a spring. I think they're playing now, or they're finishing up.
By the way, kind of fucks up recruiting, I think, but anything to get a football season in, I appreciate, especially in Maryland where they do crab cakes in football.
Oh, yeah.
You saying anything that happens with the fingers isn't an injury, by the way. That's not. You just buddy tape that thing and just move
You're
along.
hurt. You can be hurt. You know the difference between being hurt or injured. Your fingers, those hurt. That's not an injury.
So
Chris Long's ankle.
To speak about that even more, Chris Long's ankle. How about Waddle with the ankle? I mean, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
The Paul Pierce situation where he had to get carted off.
Of course, he had to dunk.
He's the best, dude.
Why did he get fired?
Well, he's just having a good time.
Why?
I mean,
Went to Turkey.
Mickey Mouse.
A lot of
But did he
movies.
say was it because of COVID? Was it because they're like he's not?
I think it was the poker chips flying.
Well, who knows, dude? It could be literally. I mean, we all know why. All right, we all expected it immediately upon seeing it, and now this is a gift to the world because he's probably going to the internet where he'll be able to be full-time Paul Pierce and be awesome. I can't wait for it. Going back to the finger thing, though. We had something in college called tour of duty, obviously, and it's the name of something military-like, but it's not. We understand we're not going to war, but it's called tour of duty. It's these workouts in the off season where they're like 6 a.m. and they were terrible. You go station to station, you get a check. If you get a check, you got to run a sprint afterwards. This is the type of workout, type of thing that you don't sleep the night before because you're scared the alarm won't go off or you're scared about what's going to happen. They were fucking miserable. These drills would last a certain amount of time and you would just go through in a line and you would do your whole thing. And there was like a DB coach would run one where it was like you run back and forth, like you run your feet, and then you got to like kind of sprint another 30 yards to a thing, and then you come back in line and you got to do it again, and everybody's staring at you. It is just a nightmare. The offensive line one was you had to run, and then you would go down, and then you would have to chop your legs while your hands were down, then you would have to roll, then you would have to roll back the other side, and then you have to get up and sprint to the side. It was a nightmare, okay? And the placement of where you were in line was vital. So if you stunk in these things and got a lot of checks, which means you weren't performing well or you weren't giving your max effort in the eyes of the coach, you would wear an orange jersey and you would have to go first, and you go first because you get more at-bats, right? Because as the time goes, you do that whole thing. So with the specialists, you kind of go around with your groups. The linebackers split up into groups, they go around. The specialists, we had a punter, okay, young punter. And I was a junior at the time, I think. Junior or senior, I forget what it was, junior year, I think. We had this young punter, okay? God bless him. He was a very nice kid. He went up to our offensive line coach at 5:55 a.m. before this thing started. And he said, hey, my pinky, okay, I got a contusion or something on my pinky. So when I get to your station, that's potentially what it is or something like that. And the offensive line coach said, are you cleared to do this today? And he was like, yeah, they cleared me, but I just wanted to let you know, like, if I'm not giving the best effort, it's because my pinky or whatever. He said, if you're cleared, I don't fucking care, whatever, you know? So I heard this all happen, and I was like, oh, no. So I tried, he was very young. I tried. So I put him, like, I feel like he was a little bit further back in the line. But when he got up, this dude, we had a 5-minute period. He was fucking 3.5 minutes.
Jeez.
We were all just standing there. Felt terrible, felt absolutely terrible about it. Knew exactly why it was happening. And then as the period ends, a horn goes off, and he goes, hope your fucking pinky's fixed. And it goes off. And I was like, oh, dude. And the kid, obviously, he wasn't able to complete the entire workout. Yeah. It was just but the finger injury thing in football is not respected at all. It really is not at all. And that's a shame because you end up looking like do it.
My fans are fine.
Oh no! I feel bad for that pen.
It was awesome though.
Hopefully that kid, did he learn his lesson though? I came in, don't don't do this. Don't come to a coach and say this before a workout.
5 minutes before. I was literally sitting there because we're all antsy, you know. We're all just kind of standing around like, all right, all
so nervous. You're so nervous because you're all about to die for an hour straight.
There's just like there's a tense and feeling in the air that's palpable. I mean, it is just not good. And then we're all you kind of get to your groups, you know, like, hey, we're about to start doing this, kind of like start mingling before the horn blows or whatever. And I saw him. He was the last one to the group. And I was like, what is he doing? Oh, my God. And that was one of our later stations, too.
Geez.
So that coach remembered it, too. Like 45 minutes to an hour later, he was probably had that thing locked in. He was like, wait till, they're at the defensive line. Okay, they're going to the linebackers, then the corners. Then they're going to be here in about 3. Wait till that fucking pinky gets to this mat right here. It was bad.
An O-line coach, too. Are you kidding me?
I think his fingers were.
Yeah, I assume.
to have been.
Yeah, I think they were very. I felt so bad.
Hey, that coach, I promise you that O-line coach got the footage of that, and they're watching it in the staff room. They're all laughing at it. Like, this is great stuff.
Well, you, at some point, because I was standing back there, right, and I think, you know, I was one of the obvious leaders of the fucking group or whatever, and we had a tight crew. I mean, we had a very good crew of specialists at West Virginia. I was very lucky to have a great group around me of people. But we're sitting there just watching it. At one point, I'm like, it was like almost hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like, this guy.
Hey, I'm sure you guys felt bad, but you were also very happy that it wasn't you out there doing 3.5 minutes straight.
Now, I will say, I was happy that it was not one of, because there's times where it's 2 at a time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I assumed you got stuck in a group with him in one of those.
No, I think they might have ran that thing solo just strictly because of the guy. It was bad. All right. Oh yeah, I gotta go. All right, 3:05. I will see you. Hammer Down's 4:00. I have to get out of here. Hey,
you're up to something, huh?
No, listen. This may or may not have anything to do with it.
Got to fly down to Tampa, huh?
Hey.
Whoa.
Oh.
Hey.
Whoa. I mean, hold on. Put your arm. You got a spray tan? I can't tell. Not yet.
I thought potentially my lack of tan is what the shot you were taking about the sun never coming out in the Midwest, but you were actually stating a fact there. The sun does take about 6-7 months off from visiting the Midwestern part of America. But hey, I'm up to something, dude. Hey.
Oh. You're always up to something.
Not always, but right now.
Not like this.
Not like this.
All right, I'll see you, dude. Hammer Down's at 4:00.
Maybe we bump it up today.
Congrats, Digz. Good job. I heard you went 9-0.
Thanks, AJ.
Hey, the show went 18-3 or something like that.
Damn good.
Woo. And not to mention, I forgot to mention, Mitt was like 6-1 in NBA 2 nights ago.
Oh, Jesus.
Really?
Oh, dude.
This is real life?
Yeah, brother.
How did everybody just dominate right out of the gate?
Well, the thing about it is, so we knew this was potentially going to happen because when Digz went into the COVID cave, so when Digz was exiled from his family and the show, whenever he got COVID, all he did was just study numbers and spreads and everything, and he became this electric gambler. Like his picks were like locked in. And I literally, as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, so if Digz, like, is there a chance if Digz focuses on this full time, we potentially have a fucking guy? I think early signs are saying yes. We'll see as the show continues to go, though, what happens. I assume water will find its level at some point, but we're hoping to obviously be a
streaky shooter, a very streaky shooter.
Yeah, but that COVID, it was the entire thing.
And you're hot right now.
And you're hot right
Get
now.
on the train.
College bowl game there was, dude.
Let's go.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good. Congrats to him, and congrats to all of us potentially making money off of that for the
there you go. Now you got to sell them, Digz. You're going to have to sell your picks soon.
Nah.
No, we do the show. Grow the show.
Yeah.
That one guy does it. Guy in Vegas.
A lot of guys. A lot of guys.
Lombardi loves that one dude that does it.
Oh, Vegas Dave. Yeah. Lombardi goes to him for it.
This guy's deal.
Who? AJ? Yeah. Just trying to get the.
Is that Adidas sign and a sticker, AJ, or is that real?
Yeah, you look at
which one, Digz? I got 720 Adidas on my shirt.
What is that, a NASCAR?
I don't know. It's a good question.
It's a good shirt.
It is a good shirt.
Sure. Why not?
No, I didn't know NASCAR or Adidas made good shit. Then you had that Velcro one. Now you get this.
Yeah. I'm going to bring that jacket back at some point.
Oh, we'll see it.
Actually, I'm not, because it'll take the first 19 minutes of the show to talk about the Velcro and how I had it custom made.
Well, it depends what time of year it is. You know, if it's football season, probably only about 9 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, 19 is whenever it's off season. We really got to stretch.
Yeah, if it's next week, hey,
you got nothing
could
but
do
time.
3 hours.
Pretty good time. Pretty good time to do it potentially. Okay, I'm up to something. See you later. Appreciate you guys. Can't thank you enough for watching on YouTube. The fact that you do, we are very, very, very grateful for. Comment section, I fucking hate it a lot of the times. I don't think it really is a reflection of the show, but I appreciate that people are that invested. It's almost like the Paul Heyman thing, where Paul Heyman talked about professional wrestling, where the crowd partakes in the show. It feels like that with the YouTube community, with all of our social medias. We appreciate the hell out of all of you, even though sometimes it gets a bit too toxic for my liking, and I don't enjoy my name being directly associated. But I think that's what this show is, by the way. It's a forum for a lot of people to speak. Some people say very dumb things, and I feel like we mock them accordingly. Some people say very interesting things, informative things, entertaining things, and the comment section, I want to let you know I appreciate how much you guys are active with us, but sometimes I'm like, God damn it, I hate that my name is associated with that. But that's what, hey, that's the game, baby. It's going to happen. We appreciate you so much. AJ, anything to say to the YouTube people?
No, I think you hit it, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that watches too. People stop me all the time and hey, man, love you and the boys on Pat's show. It's great. Like, so you have there's definitely a certain demo of people that love you and what you do. But yeah, everywhere it seems like people are really invested. So yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it, man.
I would argue that there is only a certain demo in Ohio, but that is a whole new ballgame. We're really big in California and Texas, by the way. Had no idea.
Let's go.
Would have never guessed. I would assume it's a lot of that. NorCal and like I would assume that is where, and Texas.
Why wouldn't the whole state of California enjoy it?
You know, I don't know, because sports, I don't think, are the most popular thing in some parts of California. You know, and we're sports stooges. I think that's like, you know, entertainment, news. Like, I think that is a rather large area of people that are into those types of things. And now, granted, I think if they were to give us a shot, they'd say, okay, very stupid show. If I ever want to be dumber, I'll listen to this or watch this. But, of course, you know, there's sports fans, I feel like, you know, those are our peeps.
Yeah, that's, when people are feeling too good about themselves, they're feeling very intelligent. Like, hey, I need to dumb myself down. Let's watch Pat's show.
Exactly. Hey, that's what we're here for.
Hell yeah.
All right, we'll be back next week. Well, let's do a final tally on the poll, shall we? Because if this thing has changed or not changed, this might change some things we do going forward with the show's poll. Do we have to go back to Twitter? Maybe do we have a dueling poll? Dueling polls to see which one's what. What do we have right now, Zito?
What are the most excited, or what are you most excited to watch? Last place, 9% still. WrestleMania.
I moved up 1%.
Did it?
Down 1 overall, up 1 since last check-in.
Oh, wow. Sunday at the Masters, 13%. And then round 1 of the NFL draft, 78%.
Okay, so very similar. 77,000 votes, 7,700 votes, 777 votes.
Yeah.
Very similar results all the way through. We'll keep an eye on it.
Oh, yeah.
AJ, you're the best. Thank you, boys, for all your effort this week. Excited to keep winning with Hammer Down. We'll see you on Monday. This has been Feel Good Friday. Oh, shit. Bro.
Not to mention.
Bro, I have to talk about this.
Oh, wow.
Look at that beauty.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
I need to come back, man.
AJ, you could spill 6 of those on Pat's desk next
Peach
time.
vibes up there?
It's 3 deep on each one.
I like that it's separated by flavor. That's nice.
Just the fridge alone.
Keep going. The peach green tea. There it is.
And look at
there
the
it
heat.
is.
Look at the heat.
Go down to the bottom.
Bring the heat, baby.
Celsius heavies at the bottom.
How about that?
If you do not have a Celsius refrigerator where you are, I would invest in one. Okay. And I would also say you could go to Celsius.com/buy-locate to find where Celsius is near you. Incredibly good tasting, energetic. Okay, it'll come in. It's good for you.
Love it.
Hashtag live fit with Celsius or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredible. Shout out Celsius.
Shout out. Thank you, Celsius.
Thank you, Celsius.
I drink them so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Because they taste so good. So I go pre-show, I shotgun one.
Of course.
How you doing? Keep it moving. Then after here to finish out the day, which is going to potentially be a pretty good one here, long one. I'm gonna probably do another one or two. They taste so good, so good, AJ.
I know.
It's impossible to sip. It's impossible to sip.
Yeah, you're right. And impossible to not spill as well.
Well, if you're a stooge with if you think a finger injury isn't real, there's a chance that you could spill shit all over everything all the time.
Yeah, you will.
I love that fridge. I wish I had one, but you definitely need to add more stuff into the studio around your desk to really just clutter that thing up even more.
It wasn't going to be here, by the way. It was going to be down over here or whatever, but I was like, this thing needs to be up on the stage.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So, I'm pumped about it. The peach vibes are, I don't know how we got it. I think it is a limited dish. If you can find it, you get it or whatever. They were selling on Amazon there for a bit. I don't know if they still do. I've not been updated.
Buy Locate. Check it out.
Yeah.
Buy Locate. You'll find it.
Celsius.com/buy-locate. It's unbelievable. Zero sugar, made with premium ingredients like ginger, green tea, and guarana.
Okay.
None of the bad stuff, just the essential energy you need. It is even packed with 7 essential vitamins alone with 200 milligrams of caffeine. Shout out to Celsius. Mitt put this whole thing together, by the way. Shout out, Mitt.
Mitt?
This guy's unbelievable.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
He makes no sense.
He's a wizard.
6-1 gambling yesterday. Puts this thing together, builds other shit, gets on a microphone, says dumbest thing of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
That's Mitt.
That's range, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, that's range, baby.
Hell yeah.
Hammered Down is in about 45 minutes. I was supposed to leave at least 5 minutes ago. We can't thank you enough for watching. You're the best. Have a great Masters and WrestleMania weekend. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. Cheers.